Isn't
We
that
will.
fair?
We will. We've got the rocket scientists here, right? Rocket scientists. You're like I said, but would you still go back to work though, rocket scientists, after this, after the flat Earth?
The flat
You
Earth
asked me a
way.
real question, Chemo.
You wouldn't know. You wouldn't. That's the point.
It's a stupid question, Chemo.
Well, why don't you try a bit harder then to prove we're on a ball? Were you not on the football team or something in college or something? Where the coach said try.
I was a nerd. Come on. Obviously, I was a nerd growing up.
Oh, right. So if you're on the football team, the coach would have said, you've got to try harder.
Wait. North American football or European football, just to clarify?
Both.
Okay, I was on neither team. Okay, thanks for that.
That's why you never had a kick up the, just to give you more encouragement, right? You were just told things like, this is an M and this is a square, and you need to just divide, and you were like, yep. No encouragement whatsoever. How easy of a life is that, right? You're just copying what's written on the board, rocket scientists, right? And just have to memorize it like a language. You had language studies your entire life. Think about that.
Oh my God, the incessant ramble. Rocket, if you try harder to prove the globe, that will force Chemo's hand, and he will have to try harder to disregard everything that you show him.
No, because remember, if he's got everything on the list, how could we say, well, if you go tick, 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 check, check, how could we deny that?
Well, Chemo does fuck all, so trying harder than that is, pretty easy to do.
Yeah, it's easy to ridicule, isn't it? But it's harder to prove something that doesn't exist.
Deserve ridicule, Chemo. That's what it comes down to.
Nobody cares about your list. Like 0 people care about your list except for people making money on YouTube. People like you have nothing better to do than sit here and argue for this.
No, the powers that shouldn't be care about the list. They've censored us.
Who?
Like YouTube and the education systems and the government.
Your whole movement lives on YouTube. If YouTube was censoring your whole movement, it wouldn't be on YouTube.
Why do you think we have this distraction of it? Why do you think we have this distraction of a lockdown now? What do you think this is for?
Flat Earth orbit work. Chemo won't explain it to me.
Nobody gives a fuck about your list.
Well, they do actually, because like I said, right now
nobody gives a fuck about your list. Who's going to cross off your list? Who cares enough to go, oh, Mr. Flat Earther, let me see your list so I can go down each and every one and check off every one to placate your feelings and make sure that that we're taking care of you. We're gonna go through this together, hand in hand. I'm gonna cross off every desire, every whim, everything that you need, Mr. Flat Earther, that you can feel comfortable in our reality.
That's right, because if
nobody's doing that, because nobody gives a fuck.
They do. The people that matter.
Nobody's crossing off your list. Nobody gives a fuck.
No one's crossing off the list. What they're doing is they're causing a huge distraction for the list.
I said a purple tear. It was nearly poetic, that. Thank you.
So, like I say, right now we have a huge distraction because the flat Earth was reaching critical mass, right? And everybody was coming over to the flat Earth.
Dying.
Of course, yeah, because we have a huge distraction in the way. We have to do something.
It's bullshit, so everybody's walking away. Everybody's smart. Roxanne, they're walking away from Flat Earth and they're latching on to the next conspiratard movement to keep getting their views, to keep getting their donations, because Flat Earth is dying out. Even the big debunkers are moving away from Flat Earth because it's just boring as fuck now. Everything's been discussed ad nauseum. There's no sense in just rehashing the same bullshit over and over.
Well, you see, how they control slaves is because the slave values his life, right? So if the slave owner says, hey, you're going to die, the slave usually falls into line, which is what we've seen today. So they've put the idea that you're going to die unless you conform. And everyone's really distracted away from the flat Earth. So those who
die if they don't.
Who told you that you would die, Chemo?
Yeah.
Wow, there's
I have nobody holding a gun to my head making me believe in anything at all.
No, this is an invisible zombie virus type infection that's going around.
Oh, so just conspiratard bullshit with no bias or basis. Okay.
Yeah, so you distract the whole world with death, and they focus on other things. That's how you control your slaves.
Oh. Death happens
With
every
fear,
day.
yeah.
So
yeah, if you don't scare your slaves, then they won't work for you.
who's scared? Who's working for what now?
Well, around the world,
take me for example. Take me for example. How am I scared, and how am I fitting into their agenda? They're working towards their means.
Oh yeah, I mean, look,
go.
they don't mind if a couple of sheep run around. They'll collect you when they need to, but right now, the majority of the sheep are falling in line. They're living that slave life, and the elite, the slave masters are happy. So that's the
way to not answer the question. Good work.
You're not a concern. You're not a problem for them. And who's to say that when you're outside, you're not wearing your muzzle? That you've been told to wear your muzzle, your dog mask, your dog muzzle, your animal muzzle.
Dog mask?
Your animal muzzle.
I don't own an animal muzzle even for my dogs.
Your muzzle that you have to. What is it? Your veil.
I don't own a veil either.
Well,
my wife have hers from our wedding, but
so you and the wife now are wearing veils. Yeah.
What? So a veil or a muzzle? Which is it? And why don't I own one if everybody is veiled or muzzled?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, that's what the government have introduced as a fear tactic.
You know what? I've been out quite a bit lately, and I have seen zero muzzles or veils.
They are the muzzles are everywhere here in England. It's unbelievable.
Like people are actually wearing dog muzzles, to keep them from biting people.
Wait, is he talking about? Wait, Kimo, are you talking about coronavirus?
They have muzzled their mouths. Absolutely.
He is Redux. He's just being a fucking retard.
So, like I say, the flat Earth is the
muzzle.
Wait, Kimo. Is that actually by you considered a cloth of oppression to show that you are a slave?
I kind of think it's for the next the next stage, the fifth age. So we're going to move into I think they're preparing everyone for the Islamic conquest.
Hold on, let's go back to muzzles. So muzzles are put on dogs to keep them from biting other people. So you're saying that in the UK that humans are wearing muzzles to keep them from biting other people or animals, or what's going on there?
No, because people here spit. They're not just bite; they spit. So
when they define muzzle?
Yeah, when they talk, they spit.
No.
So
can you define a muzzle?
What the government have done is they've decided to put like a bag over your head, or you can put your own muzzle on.
In case of you, Kimo, that might be a pretty good idea.
Like I say, that's how you control the slaves.
So what's the definition of a muzzle, Kimo?
It's something over, to keep over the mouth. Something over the mouth. Yeah, something over the mouth that keeps you quiet.
Oh, just something over the mouth. Well, see, a muzzle doesn't keep a dog from barking, so I don't know what your analogy is. I think it's pretty poor analogy. I think you're reaching pretty hard.
No, a dog muzzle doesn't have cotton on it, does it? They're open. They don't care if the dog spits or not, right? But they care if we spit. So we have a different kind of muzzle. Jeez, wake up, dude.
We had a different kind of muzzle. So definition of muzzle is the projecting jaws and nose of an animal. Okay, that's not really. A fastening or covering of the mouth of an animal used to prevent eating or biting.
There you go. Okay. Can you eat with your? Can you eat with your? All right, but can you eat with your muzzle on?
Or biting.
Can you eat with your muzzle?
I don't own a muzzle. We already went through this.
Yeah, but can your wife? Can your wife eat with her muzzle on?
My wife also doesn't have a muzzle. Do you remember the part?
Oh, you called it a veil. You called it a veil. Yeah. Can your wife eat with a veil on?
Don't have a muzzle.
Can your wife?
A veil. We don't have any veils. Like I said,
you said the wife has a
one
veil
from our wedding, but it's probably in a box somewhere. So she doesn't
eat with a veil on. No,
19 years, dude.
She doesn't eat with the veil on. No, she takes it off.
There's a problem with the lizard people's plan to put muzzles on common folk, though, Kimo. You see, have you seen a dog that puts his muzzle on by himself?
And it's actually
Humans
starting
can
to,
take
all of this is
off
starting to
their
affect
masks.
me now. Seeing all, I'm thinking it's such a big distraction. It's literally taken away from the flat Earth, as you've seen, as you've said, that the flat Earthers are not very active. So I think we're going to have to expose this thing that they're doing today, and get the people back on track.
There are no muzzles. Do you
Yeah,
see
about the whole
any of your
muzzle,
government officials wearing like a muzzle to keep them from eating or biting people? Do you see them? Do you see a muzzle like that?
Yeah, but they can't eat or bite.
Or are you trying? Are you talking about something else and you're just not saying the word? I'm just curious because a veil is a fine piece of material worn by women to protect or conceal the face. Or cover as though with a veil.
Why would you need to cover a face?
I haven't seen any veils in public.
Why do women cover their face?
Any government officials wearing a veil. I haven't seen a mandate to wear a veil. I haven't seen a mandate to wear a muzzle. I haven't seen any government officials wearing muzzles. So I think you're trying to say a different word, and you're
God, what's that other word?
I don't know. You're the one who's dancing around it and dodging.
Well, I said muzzle. I said veil.
Come out and get to the heart of it.
We've got veil.
I said, there's no veils or muzzles that I've seen at all, and I could say probably everybody
they are
in here
everywhere.
Say the same.
Everywhere. You must wear one in the shop or something as well.
Can you show me a human wearing a muzzle?
Yeah, sure. They are everywhere, I tell you. And like I say, that's how you control your slaves.
So make sure it's a fastening or covering of the mouth of an animal used to prevent eating or biting. Make sure it's that thing.
Let me show you this. Get this up for you right now.
So what exactly prevents people from taking off the masks, Chemo? Because dogs cannot take off their muzzles. I mean, that's an oversight by the lizard people, if I can see one.
No, they tell you when and where you should wear your muzzle. Soon they're going to tell you, to wear the muzzle in your house.
Like I said, these aren't muzzles by definition at all, so I don't know why you keep using that word.
There we go.
A muzzle isn't even preventing a dog from
everywhere. People are wearing all sorts, different colors, different kinds, different sizes, different shapes.
Whoa.
All kinds of muzzles.
Can you show me someone out in public wearing that, or a mandate that says you have to wear?
By the way,
it's not a mandate.
That picture that he posted wouldn't work.
It's not a mandate. It's a fear tactic to control the slaves. You're not listening, are you?
Well, no. You said that everybody's mandated.
I didn't say mandated. That's what you said. I didn't say that.
I haven't seen one of these ever, except for in this picture you've shown me. So this is the first time I've ever seen
different kinds
of
muzzles.
That they are making us wear these. Is that what you're saying?
No. I said there's different shapes, different sizes, different colors, different designs. Everyone has to cover their face as a sign that you're going to die.
As a sign that you're going to die.
If you don't wear it, yeah.
No, you said that they wear it as a sign that they're going to die.
No, that's what the government is saying. That if you don't wear it, you're going to die.
No. You said that they're wearing it as a sign that they're going to die. So I'm very confused.
If you don't wear it, yeah. So you find someone.
You didn't say that. You said as a sign that they're going to die. Yes,
check it out. Let me explain.
Do you wear the muzzle as a sign that you're going to die?
Let me explain myself. That's what Chemo said. You let me explain myself. So right behind went in the shop, and this woman was like, "You're going to kill your grandma."
Who? Wait, who?
Right the hand. Have you not seen the video?
I don't know who that is. Can
there's
we
a guy.
This to
there's this dude right the hand. He went in this store without a mask. This grandma was like, "You're going to kill your grandma because you're not wearing a mask." So it's a sign of death that you're going to die.
So people wearing the mask is a sign that you're going to die. Okay, you just doubled down on that. Okay, got it.
Yeah, that's what people think, that if you don't wear your mask, you're going to die.
No. You said if you wear your mask, it's a sign to show that you're going to die.
Yeah,
you said
so
it twice.
If you're without it, you will die.
No, you said if you wear it, you're going to die. You
It's
said
just
that
a
twice.
sign. It's just a sign. It doesn't
And now
actually mean it.
you're flip flopping. It's
Here
like
we
you don't
go.
know what the word means.
Here we go.
don't know
Look,
what
check this
exactly
out.
you're saying. Flip flopping.
There we go. Look,
The
here's right there.
contact disease. It's got nothing to do with airborne. It's contacts only. So keep your distance, wash your hands, and keep your hands to yourself, and you'll be fine. Otherwise, you know, if you want to catch it, you know, go around dogging every fucking idiot that you see and cop all over the face. I mean, that's entirely up to you, but they'll soon beat the shit out of you for doing it. There you go.
I mean, if you say mask, could you wear like a Robin, Batman and Robin type of mask just across your eyes?
You can wear what the fuck you like as long as it covers your big gob.
Yeah. And like I said, that's
I
right.
know.
Oh, you're talking about a mask this whole time. Oh,
A mask?
If only you had a master of the English language and can use words that are relevant to your argument. That would be helpful. I thought you were talking about a dog muzzle because that's what you kept saying. So
Yeah, a muzzle.
I don't know if it's into some sort of like fucking sadomasochism or bondage or something.
Look,
then you
the
might
the
want
most
to
important thing is the
Chemo,
flat
but
Earth,
really,
right?
you know,
They will
bit early
stop.
for that, innit? Really.
They will stop at nothing to hide the shape of the
a
Earth.
muzzle keeps you from biting or eating. So
I can't believe
so
how
they are
big
trying to keep us
of
from
a deal
biting
this
other
is.
people. And then they're
I mean,
trying to keep us from eating. So I guess they're trying to starve us out, or
Social
maybe
distance
not.
is one
Maybe
thing,
we're
but
just so
I
hungry and we don't want to eat
change.
each other.
Come on.
Like I'm not going to go bite my neighbor for food for lunch or something.
You certainly are going
Yeah,
to take them down to the shops on a dog lead, are you? You know.
I mean, I had no idea like how big of a thing the flat Earth would be, right? I mean, they all
What does
stop.
this have to do with flat Earth?
Well,
We're talking about muzzles.
Nothing.
it seems they will stop at nothing to hide the shape of the Earth. This is bizarre. They will bring up imaginary viruses
You're
just to
bizarre.
distract the people. They've been through wars. They've had huge colonization. They'll do anything, everything and anything to hide the shape of the
Flat
Earth.
Which war was this a distraction from flat Earth?
Well, let's think. So the British Empire scoured the land. So from the beginning of time, every single war.
Every war was to keep the heat off of flat Earth. Is what you're saying?
I would say yeah.
Okay, so every war from the beginning of time.
No. So you don't listen. This guy, what's something wrong with your ears? I spoke about the
No, you just said
British,
from the beginning
the
of time.
British Empire, the British Empire.
Wait.
For goodness' sake, is that the beginning of the time? No.
Interesting.
Try to listen with your
So they
fifth
didn't
grade
know about
understanding
they didn't
there,
know about flat
Cosmos.
Earth before the British Empire. That's what you're
Remember
saying.
when Brummy outed you for getting the wrong altitude and temperature with the fifth grader
He
paper
didn't.
that you made a huge
didn't.
mistake on? Yeah. So
I
look,
don't know
remember,
where-
the
where
British
the flat-
Empire is not the beginning of
Before the
time.
British Empire, there was no knowledge of flat Earth.
In
is what you're
Genesis,
saying.
I don't see. Oh, and the
Earth came
Queen
along as
reigned the
society
world. In the beginning was
now
Queen Victoria
flat Earth.
reigning the world, reigning the seven seas. That didn't happen, right? So I said,
There was
from
there was a
beginning-
time before that,
yeah,
there's
before
quite a
that
lot
they
of
knew it
time
was all
before
flat.
that.
They accepted the flat Earth before the British Empire.
Everybody did.
Everybody
including the Greeks.
Everybody accepted the flat Earth,
Wow, including the Greeks that said it wasn't flat.
including the Greeks. There are no Greeks that thought it was a ball. That's just nonsense. They're not
Why is it
stupid.
nonsense? It's recorded history.
Because they got their information from
So are you
they
denying
got their
recorded
information
history
from
now?
the Egyptians, and obviously they knew it was flat. So why on earth would they change it to a ball?
Who's changing what? You're
How would they
you're
know it's a
denying
ball?
recorded history now.
How could they know it's a ball?
You said nobody knew that the
Yeah,
that the Earth
before
was
the
a ball
British
before the
Empire.
British came along.
Yeah.
And you're patently wrong about that.
Well, prove it then.
Prove that the Greeks knew that it was a ball.
Yeah.
So
That's pretty
have you
damn
heard
easy.
of a guy called Eratosthenes Chemo? We might have mentioned him a few times here, but
Look, create
I
some
can't
map.
remember.
Yeah, I'm sure
He made
Roald
the
Dahl
first
made that
gold
story.
model.
All of these stories were
Hmm.
from the British Empire. What's wrong? Don't you understand how these things work?
What was the
All
gap
of your
time
history in America
Greek
is as a
and British
result of the
Empire?
British Empire. So you don't have any history
Kimo,
apart
what-
from when America was founded,
How much-
right?
How much time passed from the
How
Greeks
can you
to
know
the
what?
British
How
Empire?
can you know the real history?
How much time was that?
How much time was what?
How much time passed between the Greeks and the British Empire.
How much?
Like ancient Greece.
Oh, I'm not
let's say 200.
I'm not too sure.
200 BCE
I'm not too
to
sure.
the British Empire. When was the British Empire founded? Do you know?
I'm not too sure now.
Oh, so you're talking out of your ass.
How? I've just told you that nobody before the British Empire knew the Earth.
When was the British Empire? That's very important to know what year that was. So then we have a basis of what we're talking about.
Oh, let's try.
The British Empire began before the Greek Empire.
Okay, well, there you go.
Let's have a look. Let's get some dates for you.
I just looked it up. Curves right.
What would the curve say?
Because English was the first language.
Right, they spoke English in the Garden of Eden, so it was kind of the root.
Ireland.
Yeah, so this is about right. Yeah, so it would have been a small group who tried to change the shape of the Earth, and then it took them a couple of 100 years to get the idea out there. And then by the time the British Empire began, they said, right, let's make sure we change everything. Absolutely. This is around 1750, 1780. And that's when they thought, yeah, we're going to take Australia, because Australians are right next to the wall. We've got to take everyone out there. Then we've got to go off to America, because if those guys reveal the giants and the people near the wall, near Argentina, Falklands, they're going to reveal secrets we don't know. So they took out the Argentinians, the Falklands Islands. So now they're secure there. And they said, well, Russia, that's near the North Pole. It's a bit of a problem. Let's take out the Tsars.
Why is the North Pole a problem?
Because again, it will reveal certain secrets that they obviously don't want people to know about. And they took the Russians out, they took the Tsars out, Nikolai II and all that stuff, replaced them with their family, and that was taken care of. Then obviously Japan and China, they had the wars with China and Japan, made sure that they didn't speak, divided the country up, and
They didn't speak English at least.
It's all settled. So every single country around the flat Earth plane, if you look at the map, has been controlled by the Queen and the King.
What I asked you like 3 times what the secrets are of the North Pole that they want to keep from us.
Well, I mean, again, there's
fucking freezing.
Well, there are different kind of stories. You know, some people say there are aliens down there. Some people there's like a hole to another parallel. All kinds of things. We just, you know, nobody knows because we haven't...
Just admit it. You know they're hiding Santa Claus down there.
Could
Fucking
be Santa,
tell us the truth, Kimo.
You
know he's Santa Claus. You're just covering it up with a flat Earth.
Could be a paradise. You know, we just simply don't know. But they're obviously hiding it. And like I say, the British Empire did everything they could and can to... even till, like I say, the Falklands War. I couldn't believe it. So I'd seen one of the Falklands Islands back. The Queen was like, no, that's our island. And if you take that island... I mean, why on earth would we want that island all the way over there? Nothing to do with it. They've even got a letterbox in the Falklands. A letterbox. I mean, why on earth? It's just insane. So, you know, the idea is that the Queen's like, look, we need to control these lands. And she did that. Very powerful because she comes from a very strong bloodline and a very powerful bloodline, yeah. So they serve her. She has orders. She knows the plan, obviously. She's been So yeah, that's how it works, guys. And this is why it's one of the biggest secrets. But when we think about it, it's like you guys will be like, why? Why all of this? Right? Well, it's just down to authority. Simple as that. You know, you've got God's authority versus Lucifer's authority. You know, simple as that. That's what it's all about. Just like when Adam and Eve, when Lucifer told Eve something, and then God told Eve something. So what happened? Eve went and listened to Satan. Right? Same thing now. You guys are listening to what you've been told and not your creator. So that's why rocket scientists here are struggling to, you know, prove that rockets do what you say they do and things like that. Like I say,
how do you know you're listening to God, though, Kimo? maybe you're the Luciferian snake.
You got to test it. Yeah, you don't know. Yeah, so you got to test it. Like I say, I mean, it's not difficult. Once you're tuned in, I found this video, right? Because last week we were talking about, like, if I have a hypothesis that there are spirits, and then I'm going to build a device tuned into these spirits, right? Well, I've got a video that does just that. Right, the guy's tuning in. He's asking questions in the atmosphere, and then he's tuning the radio thing in, and it gives him a response. He does it again, gives him a response. So it's difficult to hear what he's saying. It's all like something weird like this, but they can make out what he's saying, right? And that was just the same thing as the Cavendish or any of your pendulums. If someone has an idea and they think I'm going to build a device to test it, how can you know for sure if that's actually it's being tested, right? So, yeah, there is that video. I'm going to show that, obviously, when it's relevant, when it's needed, not really that important now. But the shape of the earth is the most important thing. They will stop at nothing. Wars, bloodshed. You know, they would wipe out entire countries to hide this truth. Or because they don't want you. Because as well, he's going to get a little bit... Well, does anyone want to say anything now before I go on a little bit more? So this is really freaky. Well, not freaky, but I had a crazy thought. So the idea is, the higher you go, it's you get layers, different layers of density, and obviously the atmosphere can't penetrate through the higher layer because it's not light enough. Okay, so we know, well, you don't know, but Christians know, or religious people, spiritual people know that above us there's another realm, like a heaven. Above, up, and below there's something else, right? So the idea is, if lighter particles or lighter things go up, and we question whether light itself is particle or a wave. Is it a wave? Is it a particle? What is it? I don't understand. You don't know, right? So the only way to ascend to heaven, so to speak, is to become light. You've got to become light itself in order to go up. To be light enough to get...
This has gotten too weird even for you.
It's weird, yeah. But it made perfect sense to me when I understood this relative density thing. About how lighter things go up and heavier things fall down.
They always go up.
What?
Always.
What?
They always go up.
Light. So if you've got... if it's less dense than the medium it's in, it will go up. So, let's think about this now. If we were in a medium of helium, what would happen to us?
Okay, we're going to skip over that. We'll just pretend like that never happened.
Oh, what did you say? I didn't even hear you. What was your question? Your microphone is awful curved. Absolutely awful.
That statement right there alone just reminded me that it's futile to even try to...
Yeah, but your microphone is terrible, though. It's hard to hear you.
You don't listen to anything, Chemo. You don't listen. You just talk over everyone. You ramble incessantly.
Mm-hmm.
You're babbling nonsense. You're not engaging in conversation. This is pointless.
Now I can hear your microphone.
Useless, Chemo. You're marginalizing yourself.
You just say it when somebody else is talking. You don't say it like when we can hear you.
Chemo. And
like
it's
now.
all your fault. It's all your fault.
And then you just complain. But go on, Did you want to say something?
Quit whining about what I say and calling it complaining. Try to engage you in conversation.
Yeah, I'm trying to ask what you're saying. What are you saying here?
But you won't have it.
Oh,
so
for goodness sake!
Leave you to your mess, Chemo. Good
yeah.
day, sir.
So because we need to lost track. So, but the idea is, like I say, if you want to ascend, you need. Well, you're not the only way to become light. You can't do it yourself, can you? And obviously, when you're raptured up, you become light enough to be ascended, right? And you know, you may be filled with something else. So if you're filled with light, like if your body was filled with, you've got air in you now. So you know when you're underwater, you breathe it, air, you go up, you're lighter. So if you've got light in your body, obviously you can't get it yourself. What?
Are you confusing the word light as in a noun and light as in an adjective?
No. We're talking about light as in the particle, right? The actual particle.
Wow.
The actual particle itself. Can you weigh light? Of course you can't, right? Light is a particle. Does it have mass? If it's a particle, then you might say yes. But it's extremely light.
But you realize that light in sense of weight and light in sense of electromagnetic spectrum are two absolutely different things. And they just happen to share a word.
No, but we're talking about the light wave or a particle, right? That's what we're on about here. So, because that discussion is on the table, is it a particle, is it a wave? Like I say, if we are filled with light, we would go up. We become light enough. In the word, light. Get light. And obviously you would go through the medium and then up to where the next realm would be. Right? So obviously you can see NASA trying to smash through with bombs. It's not working. They had Tower of Babel, tried to build a building. It's not working. God saying there's only one path, one way, obviously, to get through that medium, right? And that's why we're having the problem and troubles that we're having right now. That was just a thought. I don't know how true it is, but it makes sense, the idea of light becoming light. They kind of manipulate, like, the Luciferian light. We're talking about the light of the Lord, Christ, things like that. So, yeah, but that's the religious side of it. If we're talking scientifically, like I say, people like rocket scientists should be able to give a bit more than just say, I have data. You know, because anyone can write anything, right? Can be interpreted in any kind of way. But look, I did say to you for the longest time. Hold on, does anyone want to say anything before I go on? You do quiet around this time.
I just wanted to see if you remember to take your drugs or if you just did too much acid this morning.
Yeah. No, I mean, I get it. I absolutely get it. This is one of the things that you'll probably get from, very few is understanding your position. There's no flat earther today gets why you're still a globe earther. They're like, what, after all this time, they still believe in the ball? And
yes,
it's like,
you see, it takes immense genius like you, Kim, to figure out that everyone else has been lied to and they're morons and they can't be as smart as you. It's actually taking intelligence.
I was going to put in my video in the beginning, it's not that I'm smarter, or is it that you're dumber? But I don't know what it is. So it's not that we're smart or anything like that, but in this situation we appear to be, right?
But I think it's just relative to the amount of acid you take daily.
No, I think overall you probably are smarter than most flat earthers in general. But this question, you just can't see it. It's like so bizarre how. But I like to think you can see it, and like rocket scientists and Mr. Scott here, they just like the system they're in, and you just don't want to be pulled out of it. So you're aware. So in the back of your head, you're like, oh, I know it's flat, I know it's not a ball, but I like what this has to offer. I don't want to go back 500 years and live like the ancient people, so to speak. Right? That's what I think you're worried about. But we are going back because they're bringing back, the old world. That's what they're. It's going to be a mixture of clay and iron. So we're going to see the old world mixed with the technological world, and there's no escaping it, really. I mean, think about every single flat earther you've ever met in your entire life now. How difficult the conversation is. You don't even want to get into it nowadays, you know. If at some points you might get into it. I think hope. See, this is the problem as well. You guys put your hope. That's how much hope in man you have. So sad and dangerous to see. So let's say if you see a new flat earther. So when Jeremy and Preston first arrived, you were like, "Oh yes, this is great. We're gonna convince. We're gonna bring them back." So you put all your hope in them, and then when they fail you, you ridicule them. You know, you mock them. You know. So you know it's difficult because you're hoping that they are not lost in your minds, that they're not lost, and it's if they do decide, well, I don't have the same trust in you that you have in, you know, the person, as in hope wise. So yeah, so let's take Jeremy for a great example. Jeremy comes with a little bit of hope in the fact that you might be able to give him a good answer. He hopes that. But he doesn't put too much hope.
Jeremy literally wants to start a eugenics camp.
No, but I just mean he has hope. I did. Everyone did. Every flat earth or fencer in the beginning hopes you can give the right answer.
It's not about a right answer. It's about a correct answer.
No. I'm saying that when we come to you...
He's right, though, man. He's right.
When a flat earther... Go on, Don, sorry. Let me just make this point quickly.
You're right. I mean, you're right. Like, same thing talked about first earlier. Like, maybe it's not rocket scientists is obligated to show us, but maybe it would be easy for him to show us. And it's like, the stuff rocket scientist has comes down to like the flat earthers all countering it with putting an AE map down and putting a swirl above and going, okay, this is the path of the satellite. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, we have hope and they have hope we're going to flip, and we have hope he's going to show it to us, and we're not there. I mean, it's just how it is.
Absolutely. And that's the problem. That is the biggest problem, is that this hope in mankind, you know, so ferociously is what's bringing everybody down and making them so angry. Whereas, you know, I've only got hope and faith, you know, in God, things like that. So, you know, when someone says something to me, I'm listening, I'm thinking, okay, and if it sounds good, then obviously you go with it. But then if they are, you know, if they're trying to deceive you, you'll know about it, right? That's what I mean.
So you're admitting that you hope in the voices in your head.
Yeah, that's what you've got to put your hope in the right things, your faith in the right thing. So even if, like, I was wrong, because like you say, if when you die, it doesn't really matter. But if I put my hope in the right thing and it does matter, well, like the matter one is more important than the not matter one. So you're saying, let's just live my life, do whatever I want, because it doesn't matter. When you die. But what if it's not that? Whereas if I live, you know, this way of the life now, and then it is like that, then it matters. If it doesn't happen, then it doesn't matter.
Oh, see, it really doesn't matter to me, because if there is an afterlife with some guy daddy and a Satan, I'd much rather serve at the right hand of Satan than be a slave in your, quote, heaven.
You say that now, yeah, again, without thinking. I think it does say in the Bible that God does turn people over to the spirit world, the dark side, if they refuse. That may be the case as well. But again, if you were really looking and searching for it, you could find out if you've been lied to. It's not hard. You know, it's not that difficult. You're in America, so you should be able to...
Chemo, can I get a list of your combination of illicit drugs? Because I know people who will pay good goddamn money to live on the planet you're on.
I think it's called information. Information. So the information is so good. It's like... Because again, even I'm like surprised. Like we figure these things out, right? I'm still every time I talk about it, I'm astonished. I'm like, whoa, they've got no science.
Did you just sniff cocaine, Chemo?
No. I'm just saying, like I say, I'm very astonished every time that we're not on a board. We've been told this our entire lives, and there's just no proof. It's like I say,
I have provided you empirical fucking data.
If that's not astonishing.
you just fucking blow up your nose anyway. So I'm quite sure you're doing an ungodly amount of illegal drugs. I would just like to know what combination that is. I mean, is it cocaine and LSD at the same time or what?
No, I mean, these drugs, people need them to fill a void. I mean, if the flat earth was taken away and you actually showed a ball, then I would have a void to fill, right? But right now, it's like, it's just, like I said, I'm astonished still that, that you can't prove her on a ball other than just give us a story. That's still amazing to me.
You still ignore empirical empirical.
I know you say that about me, you say that about everybody. I know. But like I say, it's growing. For me, again, unless you want to argue about it, you want to talk about it, challenge it, we can. But we're just talking in general, I think. So it doesn't really, I'm not going to get into a discussion, are we? Because again, you're going to have to prove things, and I'm going to have to trust you, and I have to hope that you're right. And all these things.
See, that's your fucking problem, is you're too goddamn lazy and high to go out and do anything and verify anything that somebody else has done on your fucking own.
I mean, again, look, if the Earth was really a ball, it wouldn't be this difficult to figure it out. Just wouldn't.
Again, it's not. You're just too damn stoned, lazy, and a racist little bitch to do anything about it.
No, I mean, again, it's as simple as making...
possible that somebody who can't figure out a triangle might struggle with figuring out a ball, as you put it, Chemo.
Well, I mean, again, look, this idea of spherical trigonometry, non-Euclidean, all of that. I mean, again, you've introduced a whole
triangle, Chemo.
Look, you've
introduced Euclidean planar geometry triangle. You can't.
Look, you don't even talk to Bev anymore because of this. Right? I mean, don't try and corner me now with all the, this triangle horizontal stuff. I mean, we can get into it if you want to, but the idea is that you've been exhausted with Bev and Co. And, you don't even want to hear our arguments about the, when Joey brings it up now, the horizontal plane, it's just like, oh, come on. I mean, again, I even feel, I get that. What?
Briefly, just give me a quick summary of the Pythagorean theorem. What does it say?
Summary of what?
Pythagorean theorem.
Look, I mean, I don't really get into all of that. I mean, to me, like I said to Rocket earlier on, he's wasted his entire life learning another language. That's all it is, just a language. Go and learn a decent language and actually speak to people with that language.
Language.
Just a language.
And this is the language required to figure out the ball, as you put it.
No. Yeah. That would be the language to figure out an imaginary ball, but not reality.
Any.
No. Again,
especially some sides of the Earth, Chemo.
I feel almost like the Grim Reaper, just wiping away any ideas of a globe. I mean, it curved. It shouldn't be that difficult to figure out if you want a ball or not. The higher you go, the Earth should drop away. It doesn't happen. Yeah.
Interesting. It does. What I want to know is, what other delusions do you have, Chemo? This is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think what happens is we mix up what we think with what's actually going on. So it can sound all delusional. Again, I get that. It's understandable. But, really, to me, none of that matters. Because when it's time to get down and discuss these things correctly, we're talking about at universities, students, physics students. Again, these things don't take long. Okay, you're looking for entertainment. That's the problem. Is that you're looking for entertainment and a circus, whereas you're not
providing it right now.
That's what I mean. You just want fun. When this is
what about when they kidnapped you and made you wear a dress and took pictures of you? That's why you're doing this, right?
What if that happened? You mean?
It did happen, Cuba.
What? No. If that happened, that would be one way to make me stop talking. Yeah. If you threaten
They're making you do this. You don't even want to do this. They're forcing you. They're blackmailing you.
No, it's because I don't want to do it. You're right. I don't want to actually tell you guys bad news, everyday bad news, right? And you're hearing negativity constantly, and it's a
Yourself in
stress.
trouble.
What?
Don't get yourself in trouble with them. You know what I mean? Don't say too much now.
Yeah, that's why, like I say, I've been, like I say, I like to do these things from behind the scenes, because, like I said, the arguments are so strong and powerful. They can put it in such a way where people, are stumped, and we're not trying to catch people out. I mean, we are, but we're not. We're not trying to catch you out. We just want you to recognise something, like you can't prove you're bored. So. And that's why it can seem devious what's going on. Like today, when I was trying to get the gas pressure thing out, we have to go all the way around all of the... Because you wouldn't answer the question honestly. So we have to go all the way around all these different areas just so we understand that you can say, oh, I didn't say that, I didn't mean that. So we ask, can you breathe while you were sleeping? Oh, of course you can, you moron. Oh, of course you can. Oh, okay, we agree on that. So a lot of the times when you think... the flat earthers are saying things that you think they already understand. It's because of you, again. It's because of the way you hold a conversation. You'll say, we didn't say that. We didn't mean that. No one said that. And it's like, well, hold on. You've just said that. So you have to go in all over again in the process and say, right, this, that, and that's just what happens. And that's why Anthony doesn't do it anymore, because it ends up being a 2-hour definition session. Because you guys literally will say one thing and then say, well, I was just in Betty's there, and they were talking with the boy Arthur about the black swan. So they asked him, is the horizon physical or is it light? He said it's both. He says it's sometimes, he went around some nonsense about sometimes it's light, sometimes it's physical, that picture looks like a good physical, So again, all of this just to tell us if it's a physical obstruction or not is very difficult to get from the seasoned ball earther. He didn't just say, yeah, that's the physical edge or the obstruction. No, it's light. That can bend. The horizon could be there, but it might not be there. Yeah, I mean, I think you guys cause just as much frustration as the flat earthers do. Probably don't recognise it. Probably doesn't feel like that on your side, but yeah, you cause a lot of aggravation. Because we're left scratching our heads like, can you just believe he just said that?
You're left scratching your head because you fail to grasp even the most basic concepts of geometry or physics.
Well, I mean, look, instead of, because what we notice is that instead of just me, getting into the ad homs, just ask the question and try to get the answer. I think that's what causes frustration is the questions that your ego won't allow you to say, oh, all right, yes, we don't know, yes, I can't do that. And that's going to be a problem for you guys. I've always warned about this. Jeremy's going to get stronger and stronger and stronger in his eye. He's just studying right now. Learning.
We're seriously not even talking about Jeremy. We're talking about you and your LSD addiction at the moment.
Oh, I'm just talking about in general things. The state of flat Earth today, what it's like. Current affairs. So just... And you guys think it's dying. Yeah, it may look like that. It's only because of the distraction. So I kind of feel, I thought to myself, should I stop pushing the flat earth? Because it seems they are reacting to what we do. So the less flat earth we talk about, that this will stop. They'll go back to, oh, okay, you can go back out there as normal. And, it just seems very strange that the timing coincided with flat earth increase. Yeah, I mean, it's a good position to be in because it's more of who you talk to. So anyone you talk to, you'll know that they can't. They can only tell you what someone else has told them. So I think that's kind of keeps flat earthers going. They speak to people personal lives. See, here, what you guys don't get is different, like, being in an environment like this than just talking to somebody regular. When you talk to a regular person, they're not trying to manipulate or catch them. You just ask them simple questions, you get straightforward answers. You see Dow do it constantly. He just goes out there, what about this level? What about this water? That's it. Yeah, you go away, think about it. I mean, most of you guys make it obvious that it's more than just, you're just public, just thinking that the earth is a ball. But I don't mind that because, we want the best arguments. So I welcome that. Anything? Anyone want to say anything before I go on? I don't want to monologue too long. Does anybody want to talk about?
Chemo, who do you think changes the bulb, the projector bulb at Mount Meru?
Mount Meru in the center?
Yeah, up at Polaris.
I haven't really looked into any of that. There's so much to explore. Like I said, they keep us away from the North Pole. Yeah,
I think Pete Shea had a pretty good idea about it. Maybe he's the one to ask.
Yeah, I mean, look, there are lots of mystery, but I feel once we get to the next level, knowing these things now will just be like, why do we panic, stress so much over wanting to know these minuscule things? And then once we get to the next level, there's so much more we need to understand, and you're fussing about, like, here. This is going to be, this place is going to be destroyed. It won't last very long, it's going to be taken away, new heaven, new earth.
Yeah. Skynet, right?
Yeah, well, that may come, but, I mean, I wouldn't put too much energy into this realm if I were you. You can, but I just think...
I would die for John Connor.
You'd save him, yeah? But like I say, it's the biggest lie. It's the number one thing that they've been trying to avoid. They didn't want this day to come.
I think Sarah Connor staying alive would be much more important.
There's a new Sarah Connor now, wasn't there? That new girl, the latest one. But yeah, the Rise of Machines, that's all coming. Elon Musk is talking about putting this thing in your head so they can uplink. So it's like a Fitbit in your head or something like this.
Yeah, I saw that with the pig. I think the idea behind it was...
that's the one, yeah.
Yeah, you would be able to experience sex as a pig.
You see, and in the Bible, it talks about the pig. I'll have to get the verse up for you, but it's all prophesized. And there's a huge connection between his mark of the beast, the pig, and there's something to do with Jonas.
What does the mark of a beast stand for in the Bible, Chemo?
Hey, Chemo, do you know the address for Miles Dyson?
Is what?
Do you know the address for Miles Dyson?
Dyson, Mr. Dyson.
Yeah, he works at Cyberline Industries. He's a chip designer over there.
Yeah, but you guys will take it for sure. Because you love this world. You love what this world has to offer. And, yeah, no doubt. I'm sure you will be assigned for the rest of us. Like, look, they're actually taking the mark. Real. Prophecy's right. And, again, we'll rejoice. We'll know it's getting closer. Because we kind of want the mark of the beast. Christians want this. They want prophecy to happen. So they want... Now, this is going to sound bad a little bit. They only want it because of the fulfilling prophecy. So we need the war, famine, pestilence, all these terrible things that are coming. I mean, not right now. Well, we don't know, do we? We don't know if it's tomorrow. But the idea is that the mark of the beast, that has to happen, right? And you will be marked.
Can you tell me what date that Cyberdyne's going to become self-aware?
What, the robots?
Yeah, I just need a plan something. Can you tell me on what date they'll become self-aware?
Self-aware. I mean, again, you're talking way in the future. No, I mean, I think some of them already exist now. They said that. In fact, they said, I saw a program. They said they're so far advanced in technology that they've got humanoid robots as humans, and the humans don't even know that they're robots. That's how far ahead they are. So when you look at like your TV presenters, your sports stars, they're actually humanoid robotoids. See? And they just look like humans, don't they? That's the point. And yeah, that's how far technology is. Sometimes they break down though. We've seen the malfunctions like the M&M, that owl guy. And then we
But
saw...
Kimbo, if that's true, then how do you know you're not a robot? Planted here to spread bullshit deliberately.
I mean, again, it's like I think they know if they've been built because they shut down. So unless you shut down, you don't grow or something like this. You've got to be constantly changed. You don't grow hair, don't grow fingernails, things like this.
What? You've never seen the Terminator, man? You can grow hair.
No, you got to keep changing it. No, got to keep changing.
Sure, you can. And
No, they make many different models. Have you not
hair.
seen M&M's, the real Slim Shady stand up with all those clones that they throw in the bin and some of them they keep?
Holy hell! You think all the M&Ms in that video were clones, Chemo?
No. That, goodness me, no. That's just they're just showing you the predictive program. They're just showing you. Britney Spears had one as well. She made a video. I think it was in Japan. And they showed the cloning. They showed the cloning stations. Check out.
Seriously, I really need your dealer to get a hold of me because I don't know what you guys are losing money on over there in the UK. Whatever drug combo you're on will make me a very rich man.
It's quite funny when I hear this, especially. If you're thinking, oh, we're so delusional, so crazy, I kind of think, well, what happens how will you feel when if it were to ever come out? So it's better that you don't know about these things because
Chemo. With 2-3 innuendos at most, we got you to fucking quote the entire fucking timeline to Terminator Judgment Day.
Yeah,
and believe it as the truth.
Yeah, the movies are not just movies. They're not for your entertainment. Remember, the elite have to put their stories out because to do with karma. Okay, so if they do bad, they have to do good in their mind. It's about yin and yang, so to speak.
Kimmo, right? Whatever happened to your letter to NASA fucking music video?
The what?
Remember the letter to NASA?
Oh yeah, that's on another channel. Yeah, I'm gonna put that up on my other channel.
Can you post it?
No, I ain't got it on my channel. I'm gonna put it up on another channel.
We'll just post the link.
I'll have a look for it.
Why did you take it down?
I just needed to edit it a little bit. I wasn't happy with the visuals.
The visuals.
Aye.
Well, what's the name of the original again?
That was the M&M song, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The moonlight's cold, I wonder why. What's the original? I can't remember.
And that's Dido, yeah.
Aye.
Why I get out of bed at all.
Aye. But yeah, I mean, all of these movies, like we've got you've got that series on Netflix, or it might be Amazon, or one of them, The Vikings. Again, they're just telling you, how the Antichrist spirits work through kingdoms and kings and things like that. The television is not for your entertainment, not for your pleasure. Just to tell.
Yes, it is. That's all it is.
I mean,
you're here for my entertainment, my amusement. There's nothing more to you than that.
Yeah, but it's not. It's there just to distract you, really. But I suppose you could look at it like that.
Might be.
Yeah.
It's only entertaining until you realize that he actually needs help.
But imagine we were wrong. We'd be very unhappy. I would be very unhappy about this. You wasted so much time in the flat Earth, and it turns out you were wrong. But just fortunate that we were correct in our assertion of the Earth, right? Because we both know you're not going to show curvature. We've been asking that question from day one. Where's the curvature? Where's the key?
Well, what do you think of Pete Shea's version?
What? Of what?
Of Stan.
Of what?
Stan, I posted it in the chat.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, great. Yeah, great. That's
well,
how
Flat Earth will rise again because
Flat Earth will rise again.
Yeah, because there's a secret war going on between the Beast and the Phoenix, right? So the Beast decided to reveal or play their hand, and now you've got the Phoenix Order trying desperately to cover it back up. See? But the cat's out the bag kind of thing. So now the Beast, they don't mind if they're not going to try and promote it or hide it. They just need. Remember, it's NASA and that who tell us that the Earth's a ball. They're desperately NASA and the Order from them downwards are desperately trying to hide that truth, right? Desperately trying to hide, that it's just a fake institution and all these things. So, yeah, there's definitely a battle going on, and we're just caught up in the middle of it. Some of us are active, some of us are passerbyers, and we'll decide. Because what we've realised as well is that this flat Earth thing is not for the Beast or the Phoenix. They just played it as a game, basically, like a game, a board game. So you've got both sides, East versus West, and they are both fighting to get Lucifer, or the Antichrist, I should say, on the seat. So you've got the red versus blue, black versus white. So
black versus white.
No, as in actual black, actual white, not people. I'm talking like yin and yang. Yeah,
not a skeleton.
Yeah, like
not
race.
The way you make those YouTube comments.
Nothing to do with
Can't
race.
Blame me for jumping.
Yeah, nothing to do with race. We're talking dark and light here. So the Antichrist spirit wants the chair. I think it's in Israel, just like the Game of Thrones. There's a seat, that big seat. They're all fighting, aren't they, for that seat? So what happens in the West, it's like a political thing. So when they do something in the West, the spiritual world see it, like the gods. So that's why I said we're going back to the old world with all like Egypt and the Greek. Because when you do an action or a big event, say like 9/11, for example, so the horror from that would have been felt from the spiritual realm. So that would have given them energy. And then the Antichrist would have been pleased that, they're getting all this energy from there. Now then you've got the East are like, whoa, we need to compete with that now. So they need to do some kind of atrocity, or some kind of slavery or whatever it is to please the Antichrist. Yeah? That's why they have wars, not to kill each other, but obviously, he wants blood, sacrifice, and that stuff. But the idea is to try and please the spirit world to get that, to get the seat. So if you notice all the Western songs,
when will the pigs stop eating from the lines of Judah?
If you notice all the celebrities in America, all the top singers, they all sing songs about, where are you? I can't wait to be with you. They're all top songs, popular songs like your Beyoncé's and your Rihanna's and your Katy Perry's. So when they sing like their songs, they're not singing to me or you. They're singing to the spirit world and saying, come to us. We want you to, we're your best servants, basically. And like I say, we don't get to see what's happening in Russia and China, but they're doing the same thing over there. They're terrorizing their people in order to get, the energy from the spirit world. You see? And that's why now. So what's happened is, we now know America lost that battle, or the West lost that battle, and they're going to put investment in the East. You see? So we know that America's going to fall. And
do you ever not make up complete bullshit for hours on end? I mean, do you ever just have a serious conversation, or do you just fucking retard all day long?
So we know America's going to fall, because they haven't
know
been
the
given
answer
the
to that.
advanced technology that the East have.
Good.
And we're going to see the rise
Career.
of Islam.
The rise of of Judah.
No, because what will happen is Islam are there just to take out the people. Not like a war, but just to argue with the regular everyday citizen.
Who are worse, Chemo?
And then the government, the system, will fall behind it, and then obviously there'll be a one world order, one world government, and America won't
Who do
be
you hate more,
involved in that.
Chemo?
What?
White cunts, Jewish
What?
people, faggots, or Muslims?
What's that, Chris?
Who do you hate more?
Hate? Hate's a strong
Yeah.
word, Chris. You can hate anybody,
I don't
Chris.
know, man. Fire for faggots, burn them with the Jews. I mean, it seemed pretty hateful to me.
Yeah, that would be hateful. You shouldn't hate anyone, Chris.
Yeah, they shouldn't have wrote it then.
Exactly, Chris. Didn't say anything hateful like that.
So why did you do it, Chemo?
Why did I do what?
Why did you write that stuff that Chris just said?
No, Chris wrote that stuff.
You're just lying now.
No, that was on your YouTube account.
Oh, give us a look. Let's see it.
Oh, you've seen it, Chemo.
Let's have a look. I've never seen that before. Give us a look, Chris. I've never seen that before. Let's have a look on my account. Let's see how it is.
That was around way before I came on the scene.
So, Jake, these trolls will do anything and everything to try to discredit. Remember, they will stop at nothing to stop the flat Earth.
Burn them with
Right?
the Jews.
But like I say, it's one of the most powerful understandings that that we have, because it shuts down an entire. And that's why again it's going to fall. Another reason why you're for, because obviously they're pushing. I mean, I think in the East they already know the Earth is flat. You didn't go to they know the Americans never went to the moon. Like the moon landings.
He posted it. What do you think about it?
The moon landings in the East is a joke. You speak to anyone in Russia or in China, and they'll say, America go moon? No go moon. It's
Who are you talking to? There's nobody here that's listening, Chemo.
Well, you're listening, Jake, I'm sure.
Well, I'm not listening to your gibberish.
You are, Jake.
I'm watching the chat. I'm watching the chat, and I'm catching a word every now and then. I'm trying to figure out who you're talking to.
I was talking to you, Jake.
That's what he says every time. I've asked him the same shit. He goes, "Well, I'm talking to you, Stone."
That's right. I am talking to you.
Chemo, I've already told you before, dude. You need help.
Who are you talking
Find some help.
All right, so I've got a message from Dal. Dal says, globe belief is for willfully ignorant retards. See, that's what the wider audience...
The same that called you a deranged delusional clown, son?
Yeah, when they listen to the wider audience... Yeah, because we had a back and forth on certain points.
Why did he call you a deranged delusional clown?
What does he call you, Chris?
A crackhead or something.
Okay, that's the point there. So I mean,
Right,
I'm sure.
yeah.
So, but what he thinks about the globe earthers in general is that you are being willfully
but why
ignorant.
did they call you and you Sports Chemo a deranged delusional clown, son?
Yeah, and what did he call you?
Yeah, I already said what he called me.
What did he call you?
I already said it, Chemo.
Well, what did he call you?
I don't know, man. I can't remember. I forgot.
You forgot what he called you.
Yeah, I forgot.
Hey, Chemo, I just posted it again for you in case you missed it. This is what you wrote.
Oh yeah, that's what
Chemo,
Chris
you're
wrote.
a deranged delusional clown, son.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember Chris tried to make out that I was swearing, writing strange things, and we proved that to be false. I remember that.
Chemo not making sense. He's proving flat Earth.
The strangest thing about that is I thought Chemo was gay.
We don't know that he's not.
Really?
It's not about me.
That's funny.
It's about the shape of the Earth that you guys cannot demonstrate to be true.
No, Chemo, it's about you.
Maybe the Earth is gay.
You delusional fuck.
An attention whore schizophrenic who will say anything to get attention.
Well, globe belief is for willful, ignorant retards. Right? Oh, Chris, here you are. You are a heroin addict, so you're on heroin, Chris.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's heroin. I forgot.
How many of you guys have ridden a big wheel in space? Huh?
So, Chris, how can you make sense of the world while you're on heroin?
with great difficulty, Chemo.
I don't know
Hey?
how you do it while you.
This is when you know
So you're
when
saying that you
Chemo's
stick needles in
actually
your
just,
arm, Chris? Is that what you do?
Yeah, I've got one in my arm right now.
So you've got like all holes up your arm.
Chemo, how do you do it when you're a schizophrenic and your own mind is defeating you?
So does that mean you steal for your food, Chris?
Chemo, stop being ridiculous.
Chris, do your tracks converge when you hold your arm out?
So look, what we're interested in is proving the globe. You guys are supposed to be globe earthers with globe evidence.
We're getting a little too personal. Chemo got backed up there. I got pissed off.
I'm just letting you know that we've got flat earthers all over the world listening to the globe, as Dal puts it. He says, you are being willfully. So it's like the Earth is not a globe.
Chemo, how can you make sense of the world if you're deranged and delusional?
Well, with a few conversations, you can straighten that out. So you can think something.
But you're delusional.
But with crack, Chris, if you're a heroin addict, you're going to need counselling.
Well, I mean, lucky for me, I'm not. So there you go.
Well, we don't know that, do we?
Well, no, we don't. But
you just keep saying my back. I'm in pain. So it could be because you need a fix, right? Every time you've been screaming out, it's because you needed a fix or something.
Yeah, that's the only reason people. Yeah.
Yeah, it needs that high. So look, if you're delusional, look, you guys are delusional right now. So if you recognise it's not a globe, you won't be delusional. Simple conversation. But with crack, can we say to Chris, "Hey, stop the heroin," and he'll be like, "Okay, I'll stop."
Don't get angry, Chemo.
Hey, Chris, did you lose your needles in the vanishing point of your arm?
What?
Where'd you stick the needle, Chris?
Up your fucking cunt.
Ooh, that would be painful, Chris. You need counselling.
Chemo, tell us about the fucking pyramids again.
Well,
pyramids.
Yeah, the fudging pyramids that I said, I'm sure are very ancient buildings, yeah.
You're sure they're ancient buildings? What evidence do you have for that claim?
Well, you do a bit of, you look at the rocks, you check out how old the rocks are.
And if I pick up a rock here in the current state I'm in, how do I know how old it is?
At the top of that pyramid, Chris, does the atmosphere become thinner?
A little bit.
Probably, but not enough to matter.
Okay.
I mean, it's only 320 feet or something. That's not that high.
Alright, Chris, we've got some questions. Let's show that you're not a delusional retard.
I don't do questions.
So,
I don't take requests.
Chris, what is the mechanism
angry men
of interaction
with fucking compensating for their little cock in a shed going mental, calling everyone junkies and crackheads?
Chris, you see? You don't know anything about proving whether you're on a globe or not, do you? Right? You're too busy away with the fairies, right?
A wee man in Paisley going fucking mental, pure fucking mental, in Paisley going fucking mental in my shed.
Chris, why don't you get a life and figure out the shape of the Earth?
Why don't you, Chemo?
Well,
this is my life. Flat Earth is life. I mean, what else is more
sure
important than flat Earth right now? Exactly, Chris. Right, you're on the world stage now. This is the point. When a globe earther is on the world stage, in front of the public, at large, having to demonstrate something that doesn't exist.
At large.
Yeah, like, I mean, if you're watching, there's a huge audience, for example, the ball earther has to try and demonstrate that he's on a ball.
How many people are Chris standing in front of? I mean, he's on his computer, talking into his computer, so there's probably, 50 people in this room almost? That's not the world stage. Sorry, Chemo.
Yeah, this is where the questions are being asked right now. This is a stage, a platform, right?
It's a platform, but it's not a world stage. It's not like there's more than 1,000 people here.
No, but there's people from all over the world.
Not really.
Yeah, all over the spherical Earth. Yes, there are people in this room that live in different regions of the spherical Earth.
The Earth has to have curvature, then followed by a dose of gravity, which we know does not exist, Chris.
So when you fall out of an airplane, you don't increase in acceleration by 9.8 meters per second squared?
That would depend, Chris, on the medium.
It doesn't depend. It happens. It's a fact.
Chris, you've never ever demonstrated that, so I know what you're talking about.
You can't change that. It will happen, Chemo.
What if the medium
Right,
is...
so you explained to me, how does gravity interact with objects? What's the mechanical physics behind this?
You jump out of a plane and you accelerate towards the ground at 9.8
Okay, I accept that. You're saying because of gravity. So now, what's the mechanical physics behind
that?
That
Acceleration is what we call gravity, Chemo.
I've asked you for the mechanical physics.
Mechanical physics is that when you jump out of an airplane, you are denser than the air around you, so you fall to the ground at 9.8 meters per second squared. And that 9.8 meters per second squared is what we call gravity.
Right.
You can name it whatever you want, but in the real world, we call it gravity.
I want to know about the interaction between...
You don't want to know about it, apart
between
the
objects.
guy in the shed going pure mental wants to know about it.
No, I want to know about the interaction, Chris.
The wee guy in the shed going pure mental.
What's the interaction between the objects, Chris? Do you understand the word?
Particles that are... The mass in your body is heavier than the mass of air you're jumping through, so you increase in acceleration towards the ground at 9.8 meters per second squared.
Where's Mr.
And
Scott?
we call that acceleration gravity.
Mr. Scott, are you here, Mr. Scott? We need an expert. Scott.
Dale, yeah,
we need an expert. Mr. Scott, are you here? He's the professional.
And talk to us.
So the funny thing here is Chemo's not getting the answer he wants out of Lyle, so he's going to try someone else to get
we need
his
an
point
expert.
across.
Chris is not helping me. We need a professional.
And the trouble you've got, I haven't finished my point, Chemo. And the trouble you've got is
the links in the description.
Sorry, I was again in the middle of a sentence, Chris.
Oh, Dross. Where's Rizla?
That's all right. So yeah, I mean, all I'm trying to say here is he's given, the description of the observation that we call gravity.
You only speak with
and as he said, if you want to call it something else, go for it. But that's what we apply to weight. It's what we apply to masses when we want to understand the interaction of forces between them when it comes to motion and velocity, especially towards the ground.
Hold on, are you answering this question, Dross? I zoned out a second. Are you answering the mechanism part? Because there's going to be a follow-up if you explain the mechanism.
The mechanism is that when you jump out of an airplane, you weigh more than the air around you, so you fall at 9.8 meters per second squared. That is the mechanism.
Yeah, but how does gravity interact with the
Gravity
mass?
is what we call that acceleration towards the ground.
Yeah, look.
I'm not playing your little game. I'm sticking right on that, and that's exactly what we call gravity.
Look, right. Mr. Scott is an expert in this. He'll be able to give a more professional.
Kimo, why are you asking this question?
As flat earthers, we ask these questions constantly, every day. Every day we ask these questions to people who profess
What's the mechanism that holds the sun in the sky for a flat Earth?
Don't know. I ain't been up there. You?
Okay, cool. What's the mechanism for navigating on a flat Earth going east to west?
Oh, that's easy. Get the NASA aviation thing. It'll tell you how it works on a flat motionless plane.
You're talking about a computer simulation done in the 1980s for aircraft modelling. So
Yeah,
I'd actually like to talk about something in the real world and navigation, because obviously, models
Well,
aren't
again,
valid
we've
as
got
well,
Scott's
so
dad here.
I'm interested in...
Scott's dad was an ex-fighter pilot.
I want your explanation of travelling east and west on a flat plane.
Yeah.
How does it work as you get towards the ice wall?
Scott's dad was an ex-pilot. Wait till he comes here, Mr. Scott, and then we can talk.
It's nothing to do with Scott. This is a question to you, Chemo.
No, like I said, the experts can answer this more than I can.
No. He's not a flat earther. He does not believe the Earth is flat. He does not support your model. I'm asking you, as a flat earther, you're asking for these mechanisms from us, and yet you seem to have no mechanisms to give to us to explain any of your points that we can do.
Well, hold on a second. What did you ask
How about
me?
something simple like a sunset? How does a
What did you ask
sunset
me?
work on flat Earth?
Oh, the sunset. So you're saying there is a mechanism for the sunset, yeah?
No, I'm saying how does it work?
But is there a mechanism for it?
The Earth rotates is the mechanism for the sunset.
The Earth is moving, Chris.
The Earth rotates at 1,000 miles an hour at the equator.
Okay, so if the Earth is rotating,
That is
Chris,
what makes the appearance of the sunset.
if the Earth is rotating, why do all the different density layers, Chris, move at different speeds and different directions?
Because you're so dense, I don't want to answer that question.
So you show me a density tower, Chris, where you can
What does that
have,
have to do
you
with
can
the
have
sunset?
where you can have
nothing to do with
different
the sunset.
layers
Why are you
of that.
trying to change the subject?
You show me, Chris, where you can have different layers of that density.
Why are you trying
tower.
to change the subject, Chemo?
No,
I
Chris,
gave you a perfect answer.
you show me, Chris, how different layers
A
of
sunset
different density,
the appearance
Chris.
of a sunset is caused by the rotation of the Earth. Pretty simple.
All right.
And on a flat Earth, bro, how does it work?
Wait, whoa.
All right, you can all see the question
Isn't
chat.
the simplest answer usually
want-
the best answer, not some convoluted way out of the question or the answer? Isn't
Right,
the simplest
Chris.
answer usually the best answer?
Look, I'm about to accept your answer of this 9.8 meters per second with this gravity. Now, does gravity push or does it pull?
Well, you're denser than the air, and you fall through the air at 9.8 meters per second squared, and that 9.8 meters per second squared acceleration is what we call gravity.
Does that acceleration pull or does it push?
You're heavier than the air because you are more dense, so you fall.
I know, but is it pulling you towards the Earth or pushing you towards the Earth?
Sorry, I'm not giving you the answer you want. You fall because you're more dense than the air around you.
So it's not a pulling. Okay, fine, not a problem. I'm going to press you on it. I thought it was a pulling thing. I thought gravity pulled you towards the center. So yeah, we've got our answer now. We've got the answer. There is no pulling. Yes, it's just going.
Hector, come on, Hector. Come on, Hector.
So there's no pulling, Chris. Yeah, we can
Kimo can be honest on this point and accept that you neither affirmed pulling or pushing, and see if he tries to adopt a point for you, because I think that's what he's trying to do.
You're derailing now, Druss.
No, I'm keeping it directly on point, Kimo. Stop lying.
Okay, so Chris, gravity. Gravity. You know,
What?
you
What?
guys like to
Would you
say
lie?
gravity. Gravity. You. What does he say after that?
Hector, Kimo. Dale's new name's Hector.
But look, is it a pulling or pushing?
Come wait, Hector.
How about your density is greater than the density of the air, so you fall through it?
So it's not a pulling thing, yeah?
Your density is greater than the density of the air, and you fall through the air at 9.8 meters per second squared. That 9.8 meters per second squared is what we call gravity.
Yeah, but does gravity pull the object, Chris, or does it push the object?
I've said many times.
Or does it do
Your
neither?
density is greater than the density
Where's
of the
Mr.
air
Scott?
around you, so
He's
you
an
fall
expert
through
here.
the
Mr. Scott.
medium.
Wakey.
You know, it's desperate. Come on, Scott. He's desperate for you.
Well, he's the expert. I mean, his father went to space. He's a computer scientist, Mr. Scott here. He's very well educated. Looks at logic and solutions with a rational mind, and I think when it comes to the pull or the push, he will give us an answer that we will be satisfied with, hopefully.
I'm just wondering why you're not satisfied with my answer.
Gravity pulls.
Gravity pulls, right. Gravity pulls. So,
It's funny.
This is your opportunity.
So,
to
if
get
gravity
off
pulls, then Bazaar.
The medium you're falling through.
Yeah, but you wouldn't answer, Chris. You wouldn't answer
This is your
it.
opportunity to get off the deranged delusional clowns on list.
They wouldn't answer it.
This is why you're doing it.
Look, you're derailing now, Chris. We've got an answer from Bazaar. We've got a pull.
So what? You're fucking derailing.
I answered the way a flat
My
earth would
derailing.
answer. You more
The two Chris's are derailing. Chris and Chris.
Good.
Chrissy Chris.
Good. I'm sick of your piss, you know.
Crisps.
I perfectly.
Crisps.
Does anyone in this room disagree that I answered Chemo's question
No, I think you answered it very well. In fact, it's my
Bazaar says it's a pulling.
Just because I didn't say whether it's a push or a pull doesn't mean that you don't fall 9.8 meters per second squared, and that's what we call gravity.
And I think we should all note that he hasn't actually given a reasonable answer to how the sun sets on a flat Earth. He just deflected towards the globe again. Why? Because he has nothing.
Anyway, Bazaar, you said pulling. How does gravity latch onto the object and pull? Where are the pressure points?
Chemo, I will answer you. Are you ready? It doesn't.
Don't just say gravity.
On.
Oh.
Chemo, I'm trying to answer you.
Okay.
Do you want the answer or not?
I think you're going to say just gravity again, but okay, fine.
No.
Gravity is not a mechanical system involving pure masses mechanically coupled. Gravity involves forces, which can have both attractive and repulsive powers.
Attractive and repulsive powers. Okay.
Pulling and pushing forces.
I want to look at the attractive element of this. Okay. How is it pulling the object? How is the Earth latching on to...
The Earth, as I've already said, is not latching on mechanically to anything.
So you can see that it's not a force, yeah?
You can see that it is a force because there is no mechanical coupling, and yet it is still pulled towards the Earth.
Okay, how is it latching on to the object to pull it?
It is not latching on because it is not a mechanical force.
Go. I'm back in a minute.
Thank fuck for that.
So again, this is an example of Chemo not accepting an answer, being corrected on why a particular word in a question is irrelevant, and then repeating that irrelevant word multiple times. This is why Chemo's a rank boy and not a scientist.
Why can't it just be that mass is compelled to move by cosmic consciousness?
Okay. Is Curb answering it? Mass is compelled. What do you mean compelled? What does that mean? Is that a scientific term? Is that something that can be tested?
It's compelled means...
That's why we call it a force. It's forced to move in obedience to natural law of cosmic consciousness. It's that simple, Chemo.
We talk about conscious and spiritual world curve. What do you mean? We're talking about science now. And listen to this.
This is the ultimate science.
How does the pull interact with other objects? Only push, pressure is a demonstrable force. How are you demonstrating the actual pulling mechanism?
Chemo, you can ask these silly questions all day long. Just accept it. It's cosmic consciousness, bro.
It's cosmic consciousness. No, I don't expect. Like I say, you work with spherical trigonometry. I don't expect you to know anything about pulling, gravity, things like that curved. That's why we need Mr. Scott. Mr. Scott will be able to explain.
Ask the wee shed rager if he wears a mask when he goes into Sainsbury's.
No, why don't you ask him yourself, Chris?
I just did.
If you find time to put down.
But you're the one running interference for Hector, so I thought I'd ask you to.
No, look, so what we're looking for, Bazaar, you can't get away with what you're saying here unless we can demonstrate it, right? Otherwise, you're just making up things. Now, we don't like to make things...
You get away without it demonstrating anything.
I mean, you made a claim earlier that you said was an established fact. And you didn't give any demonstration to it. You just posted a wiki article and then extrapolated vastly from that to things that were relevant.
Bazaar, can we agree then on some common ground? We can only demonstrate...
Is it flat or round ground?
Let's come to an understanding that we can only demonstrate pressure push, yeah?
No, I do not agree with that.
Magnets pull all the time.
You think you can demonstrate a pulling force?
Yes.
So let me give you an example of what I mean. Hold on, let me explain what I mean.
It would be quite unreasonable.
Let me give an example of what I demand
of
Hey, Bizarre.
Me showing a demonstration of things. But if you're going to try and deny that people for thousands of years have noticed that magnetic materials can pull things towards them, then you're being just going up yet another notch of absurdity.
I know. But what I'm trying to ask you, let's say we're trying to open the door.
Well, why admit an absurdity and then carry? Don't do absurdity. Just be real.
Got a door, it's closed. You need to open that door. Pull it open. Now, can I just hover my hand in front of that door and have the door compelled to come towards me?
No, of course not.
No. But I can grab hold of that door handle.
If you had a strong magnet and the door was made of metal and not too heavy, yes, you could.
Yeah, of course you can.
If you arrange your candles properly.
Of course you
also
could.
true.
You're absolutely right, Druss. Of course, if the door was metal and I had a giant magnet,
so we got a pulling force.
The door
Good.
would be compelled.
We've shown that pulling forces exist. Next.
The door would be compelled to come towards me, right?
Also, you could do it electrostatically. If you could strongly polarize the door to a negative charge and bring a large plate close to the door with a strong positive charge, the door would be attracted, i.e., pulled towards.
Right.
The
What do you?
positive
I've got a super comment for you.
Force. So we've got two pulling forces. There's the electrostatic pulling force. There's a magnetic pulling force, and there's also another one that we label gravity.
All right, so I've got a comment
top
for you.
Scientific resource.
Someone has an opinion on what you've just said there.
That reflects your ability in this topic.
So it says, like, pressure variance is the only way to create motion. Pull is not a force. This old guy is a liar. You're lying to me, Bazar. Why are you lying to me?
Why do you think he's lying?
Because what we're looking for is a demonstration of pull, gravity, pulling stuff, right?
Well, you said there were no pulling forces, and we've just shown you that there are two pulling forces, and we haven't even scraped the surface of the barrel yet.
Well, what's the mechanism for a magnet?
We've shown that the fact that forces can pull.
Ah, so we do know the mechanism for pull. Excellent. So we do know the mechanism for pull.
Sorry, can you let me finish my point, or are you just going to continue to interrupt me?
Well, I'm excited, Druss, because you're about to explain the mechanism for pull in a magnet.
The mechanism for pull in a magnet?
Yeah.
Oh.
What is it?
Well, yes, I'm not going to explain that because you can go and look it up, Kimo.
No,
I'm
sorry,
not
you're not going to explain it.
No, I don't have to because it's a well-established thing. Everybody's used a magnet. Everybody's picked something up off the table with a magnet. We've seen an example. We've all seen an example of a pulling force. You want to go to the mechanism, and you can't even tell me how the fucking sun sets on a flat Earth and prove it. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Hey, Dross, I have a question.
Hit
Not
me.
for Keith. But if I'm in an airplane and I'm about to jump out at 35,000 feet, isn't there more air in between me and the quote-unquote vacuum of space than there is below me?
I'm not sure about the density, whether there's more in weight and air. Well, that's a good question. I would think there probably would be, but I'm not sure.
Right, Druss, we've got a comment for you as well on your magnet.
That's a precursor to the question of how is the Earth pulling me towards it if there's more.
Now, Druss, it says magnets do not pull, liar.
The vacuum of space.
It's weird. I could have sworn you were speaking, and then I think a mod overtalked you. I'm not sure if that's good behaviour for a mod to do such shit like that.
Yeah, but he's derailing a little bit. Now you're having a little bit of you're derailing a little bit. We were talking about pulling forces, and we had Bazar Druss talking about pulling force. And you, again, as usual, Druss, as per usual, Druss, you take the conversation on a completely different tangent.
Spurs, I'm talking about pulling force.
No, you asked him about what was above and below.
I'm wording it in a different way. So back to what I was saying. If there's more air between me and the vacuum of space, and I fall towards the Earth, how do we know the Earth is pulling me towards it? And it's just not that I'm more dense than the air below, and the air above me is pushing me down.
Go on, Druss, this is for you.
Because the Earth is not, the planet is not moving upwards, right? So it can't be that it's moving upwards and I'm falling towards the upwards motion. Or is it?
Russ, are you still there? Come on, he's talking to you.
A very simple way to prove that would be if there's a variation. If there's variation, that means it's not the Earth moving up, obviously. So,
what's this? Herms? Hello, Herms.
Hey.
Haven't met you.
I'm a globe earther.
I haven't met you before, Herms.
Yeah, I don't know.
How did you find this server, Herms?
Are you?
How did I find this server? I don't know. I think it was the round table or some shit. I don't remember.
Cool. So you think the Earth is a globe too?
For sure. No, I don't think I know. I've been to satellite launches and shit. So.
I've got one ear down. He thinks he knows it's a board. Okay. What's your best proof that the Earth is a globe?
I mean, the most easiest one, that the most coherent and the easiest angle of attack is gravity, which all you need to prove is that does matter and gravity correlates. And if you can't prove that, which you can't.
You didn't ask me about my best. Oh, you didn't finish your answer. Go on, sorry.
Well, yeah, I haven't finished my answer.
Oh, yeah.
If you do put those two together, and if you measure in the weight and the tensile strength of matter and shit like that, you'll realize that under that much weight, anything, and I mean anything, will become a sphere basically, short of graphene and what's it called? Nanotubes. Anything short of those, like specific materials, anything will become a sphere under enough gravity. So I mean that's just basic.
Yeah, that's just our dead theoretical. What can we do to validate your claim that gravity is a force?
Well, why does it matter if it's a force or not?
Very important, because you can't have pressure without a force.
Oh, he's invoking Newton and not Einstein, I see.
No. It doesn't matter.
Just hot mic.
If a force, if it's some gravity space bending shit, it doesn't matter. The only thing that does matter is that if there is a correlation between mass and acceleration of matter. That's the only thing we care about. We don't care about the mechanism of how it works. We don't care about anything else at all.
Yeah, but you're speaking in an absolute. You're saying that things are accelerating towards the ground, therefore there's a force.
I don't care if there's a force or not. All I know is that things do accelerate. That's all that matters.
But how does that equate to globe?
How does that equate to the globe? Okay, just think about it. Okay, mass.
I'm thinking. Go on.
Accelerates.
Open my mind.
Right. Okay. All right. If mass accelerates because of this thing known as matter, right? Mass correlates to acceleration. Then, if there's enough mass, right? Enough mass, there's enough acceleration. If there's enough acceleration, matter will crush itself into a sphere.
Yeah.
Simple.
Bullshit.
No, hold on, Brummy. Hold on, because
Brummy calls bullshit because he does.
But now I've just lost where you were. Say that again. So you think just because
if there is enough acceleration, right, the matter will essentially form itself into a sphere because any other shape will not be able to sustain the force.
Okay.
Sorry, the acceleration. The acceleration. There you go.
It's all very well you saying that, but you can't demonstrate it. That's
we can actually demonstrate it very easily because we do.
Acceleration, therefore sphere.
Acceleration,
therefore sphere.
Look, Herms, you're saying acceleration. How do you have acceleration without pressure, without force?
Well, I don't know how
acceleration, therefore flat.
Where pressure comes in here, because pressure is completely irrelevant to acceleration. However, acceleration and force are in fact unrelated. I don't know if you know F equals ma.
Yeah, I heard that. But listen, all
right, yeah, that's the second law of Newton.
But the necessary antecedent for acceleration, you must have a force or pressure applied to it.
All right, so we do know that there is acceleration. We can prove that, right? So we can just say x. We don't know what x is, but we can say x causes acceleration because we see We observe acceleration. We don't know what x is, and in science, by the ways, we don't completely understand gravity. Don't get me wrong, but not understanding gravity is not the same thing as it not existing, because we can easily, everywhere and anywhere, observe the acceleration. Everywhere.
All right, Bromley, you want to speak to him a little bit? If you're here. So
You need some backup.
No, not at all. I'm trying to share the mic.
I'm muted, and I. Well, listen, yeah. Acceleration, therefore sphere. What about acceleration, therefore cube? Acceleration, therefore hexagon. Acceleration, therefore, waffles. What about that?
All right. So just think about it. Okay, when you have a cube, do you understand that the distance to the center is not the same all around, right?
Said cube, not cube.
The only shape that has the equal distance from every surface point to the center is a sphere, which means that
no, which doesn't mean therefore acceleration, therefore circle.
It means this. Okay, imagine if you were gonna stack something up, right? Something over and over and over again. Okay, now imagine it goes 1 kilometer high. Now imagine it goes 2 kilometers high. Now imagine it goes 40,000 kilometers high or some shit. Just do the math. At what point would it crumble?
Do the math.
And believe it or not, engineers when they're designing
what, you want
tall
to just stop a
buildings.
second? You just stop.
I know. Slow down a little bit. You're overwhelming us with the numbers.
I've got to finish. When they try to, architecture,
yeah, let him finish.
When they design buildings, tall buildings, it's not an easy feat. And the tallest building we have is like 800 meters or some shit, approximately the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. So if you actually think that it's that simple for something that large to be stable in that shape, that's not possible.
I like your idea.
What are you on about?
No, I like
Literally,
it.
What are you talking about?
No, it means
the acceleration, therefore. Hold on a sec, Kim. Hold on. Acceleration, therefore sphere. The reason therefore sphere is because it could only be a sphere and it can't be anything else. It could be a large rectangle. It could be a large flat circle. Hold on. It could be a large flat circle, all pulling downwards, nice and equal, like an equilibrium, like a balance, right? Like everything flat. It doesn't have to be round. That is just an assertion, and you just jump into a conclusion with no logical connection to it. Oh, it must be a sphere, therefore sphere. Acceleration, therefore sphere. Okay. Like, come on, bro.
All right. I'll give you another very easy and simple thing, because I actually I did debate another flat earther. I remember it was like a big deal or something. And I still use gravity, which was because it's just so easy to use gravity. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, that it is a dish shape or whatever, a flat circle. All right. So if we do actually establish that gravity is omnidirectional, that means it's spherical, it's radiating in all directions. And if we can prove that, which we can with the Cavendish experiment, where matter and acceleration correlates. Yes, we can.
No, we can't. At best, that's mass attracting mass. That is not sphere attracting sphere.
Mass. Okay, good. That's we're on the same page. All right, fine. Mass attracts mass. That's all that matters.
It does not mean sphere. No, keep it simple. Explain how acceleration means circle. How does acceleration mean sphere? You need to make it very simple, and you can't do it. You're not doing it simply because you don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about bum cheeks.
So if mass is actually
don't wear them out, Bobby. Don't wear them out.
Acceleration. Then my question is this. Okay, really, really simple. If you are at the edge, like near the edge, not the center, but at the edge, right? How much mass is behind you, and how much mass is in front of you? Just
you are explaining absolutely nothing. You're explaining nothing.
Let me finish. Just imagine you're on that disc and you're not in the center. You're like somewhere near the edge. How much matter is behind you and how much matter is in front of you?
The same wherever you go.
Calculation.
Down is down, up is up. Simple as that. It's not complicated, does it? Nothing's going to change.
He's not going to answer your. No, listen, seriously. If you want him to answer your points, he's going to want to get through his points, and we're going to kind of have to address that a little bit. Otherwise, we're just
explain himself properly though. It's just like talking about if I walk to the edge, therefore all this mass is behind me. That's absolutely nonsensical. He or she is not explaining himself properly.
How am I to explain myself?
But he's making a lot of claims though. But just kind of let him get through it. But Herms, you've got to agree that we've got to ask you questions after you've made your statements. Yeah. All right. Go on.
Please. But let me just make this really easy case for our interruption. Okay. So if you have more mass behind you, the pull that you get won't be perpendicular to the surface. I can show this with an image if you want to see it. I can draw the lines. I have actually generated the image using 3D Max, which is a cool software, by the way. But the basic idea is that if you're on a disk and let's say you're standing somewhere near the edge, and if you were to draw lines connecting the force from every atom to you, what's going to happen, you're going to have a net force that's going to pull you towards the center of that disk, actually, which is, we can prove that because that's the only point where there is enough matter pulling you from all directions, the only balanced point. Any other point will have a net force pulling you towards the center. This can be proven mathematically.
No one's doubting that. No one's doubting your construct. The way
that's bollocks, by the way.
No, it's not. Well, Brommy, in terms of the mathematical construct, it's not. But what we're dealing here, though,
hold on a sec. I go into the edge of the disc. Just trying to say it'll all pull you to the center. Listen, down is down, up is up, and everything's nice and balanced and equal. And as I walk west, north, east, west, there's nothing that's going to pull me to the center. It's literally just a downward force and an upward force. You subscribe gravity to a solar entity saying that there is a downward vector on gases when gases are omnidirectional. So that disproves your downward vector on gases. Then you're trying to say that things go up because things are being pulled down due to buoyancy, which is another flaw. So basically, things go up because they're lighter, things go down because they're heavier, and you can see this in the natural world when you look around. Rocks are at the ground level, then water, then air. So you can sit there and laugh and say it wouldn't work because it's on a flat map, but you don't understand the flat map to tell me whether it'll work or not.
Right, Holmes, let's give you a bit of a conversation because obviously, so look, you've got this idea, mathematical concept. You said you can prove it with maths. I'm sure
I can actually show an image.
I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can. But what I want to know is if mass attracts mass, how can we demonstrate that two objects of mass attract one another? Now remember, if you're going to cite Cavendish, there could be a variable that causes the objects to move, and the only way that I would find it satisfactory, even and that's stretching it still. But I mean, if you could show that in a vacuum chamber, there was no atmosphere intervening, then definitely I would accept that you've got a starting point of mass attracting mass. But right now we don't even have mass attracting mass. And most flat earthers would say, well, where do you even see it in nature? Because remember, we can explain this so-called acceleration that you subscribe to, right? Not with mathematics, but with a practical demonstration. Whereas you can explain this pull with mathematics, but not in reality. You see the difference?
Sure. So I'm there with you on the whole experimentation part, which is I'm really glad that you're on the same page as me, because that is what science is all about, experimenting. Right. For sure. I'm 100% with you on that. And yes, there are variables, and the whole point of an experiment is to isolate the variable. There's independent variable. Here, the dependent variable would be the acceleration, independent will be the mass. Or also one thing that you can do in order to isolate it completely is use different materials. Obviously, it would have to be as dense as possible, but we could use different dense materials. And then we could also do it in a vacuum. And we can do it under very sensitive equipment. And I don't really see what's the big deal here and why it's so difficult to do this. And it'll be a really cool project if we all put our minds together.
Because before you go on again.
You're talking out your arse, that's why.
No, but before you go on, I mean, look, remember, you accept mathematical equations, therefore, if it's written on paper, you accept it. Yeah, so that could be words. Hold on, that could be words or numbers or anything like that. Now, me, on my side, we want to see a practical, hands-on, mechanical movement of these experiments that you say you have. So, if you say Cavendish in a vacuum, you would have to literally show objects in a vacuum being attracted to one another, right? Beyond that, I mean, you're just begging the question, right? I mean, you've got variables there that haven't been accounted for, and obviously, if remember, if hypothesis disagrees with experiment, Holmes, it's wrong.
I absolutely agree with you there too, for sure. If hypothesis disagrees with experiment, for sure, you got to rethink your hypothesis.
So
look, how we work.
So look, usually
acceleration, therefore sphere, not explained properly and just babbles on about absolutely nothing. Acceleration, therefore sphere. That is the worst logic and worst explanation I've ever heard. and you don't understand the flat map, but you're making assumptions about how it would work when you don't understand how it works. We don't have gravity on the flat Earth. The flat Earth does not have gravity, so you don't even understand what you're talking about when you're trying to say what will or won't work when you do not have an understanding about it. Is completely ignorant.
So look, I mean, I'm one of the few guys that you will find, because like Robbie's right, really, we shouldn't accept this. I mean, a lot of the flat earthers wouldn't even accept your mass attracting mass because we don't see it in nature. First of all, you'd have to have an observed phenomenon, but we're going to look past that. We're going to go to the hypothesis that mass just attract mass. Now, can you show that this actually happens in reality?
Yes. And as I said before, I know I'm repeating, but the Cavendish experiment is very good at doing that. And the way it does that, it uses, so it's a very sensitive, what do you call it? Acceleration. I'm not going to use force. I want to say acceleration. It's a very sensitive acceleration.
Acceleration, therefore force. Force, therefore sphere. Like you're just saying words. You're just saying words. Look, listen. You're saying words, and you can't explain what you mean. You're saying acceleration. All we care about is the acceleration. Acceleration, therefore force, therefore sphere. No, that's absolute nonsense.
What we're trying to do, we're trying to go through
science. Trying to apply. Hold on. She's trying to apply the gravity to a flat map when you do not understand the flat Earth concept, and you're subscribing globe concepts to the wrong thing, and you're coming up with the wrong answer and then say it wouldn't work. Yes, it wouldn't work because you don't understand it.
I got a question for the flat earther. May I ask?
No flat Earth model has ever been presented, so how on earth can anybody have any reference to it?
Can I ask a simple, non-scientific question?
Look, Glass Monster, don't start shouting, all right?
I'm not. I'm just asking. Can I ask the Flurf a simple, non-scientific question?
Yeah, sure.
Why is it you religiously, continuously refuse to accept anything and everything that has to do with science if it in any way, shape,
I love science. You're wrong. I love science.
Wow.
I love it more, but I do real science, like this, not just acceleration, therefore sphere sort of science. That's absolutely nonsensical. And then you're trying to subscribe things that work on your globe model into a flat Earth concept, and that is just so fucking dishonest. And then you're trying to say it wouldn't work when you don't even understand it to even say how it would work or not. So what I would say is get an actual education in what they claim to be true or not true. Then make your decision from then. Don't just say, oh, flat Earth plus gravity, therefore it can't work, because that's just you being dishonest.
Okay, so Glass Monster and Herms. So one of the reasons why we disagree with your version of science is because there's a method, and if we're going to deal with the natural physical world and have claims about the natural physical world, you're going to have an experiment. So first of all, you would have, how I understand it, an observed phenomenon in nature, right? And then you're going to try and predict the cause of the effect that you see there in nature, right?
Okay, well, why are you droning on? There's this guy Hermes that's been waiting to respond to him. Other people are
Hermes
talking.
is in the middle of the conversation. Hermes is involved, Kosho. Relax.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know why you're speaking up after Rami already did that explanation. So we're waiting for Hermes.
Yeah, I was gonna. My explanation that I was interrupted in was the Cavendish experiment. How it works is basically because the force is the acceleration is so limited due to the small amount of mass. What they do is that there is this first of all, there's two big weights hanging from like a string, basically, right? And there's two weights at the opposite side, right? And it has to be really dense because it's r squared, the distance. Right, so every centimeter is a big deal when you're trying to find a very small force. So you minimize distance by using the most dense sphere you can. So lead is a good idea. Gold is another one, and something of that nature, or tungsten, whatever. The point is, you get two really heavy ones, dense ones, and you put them on opposing sides, and you can get an image of it. And I can post it. Actually, let me get one.
How do we rule out that man?
The point is that let me just say the point is that because it's a very sensitive experiment.
Yeah.
That it can actually show over a very long period of time. By the way, it takes like hours, I believe, to demonstrate it because it's so minimal. Because you have to understand the mass of.
Look, so you have two choices here, Herms. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can either go with man caused the device to do what it does, or there was something in nature, like the wind, the atmosphere, the heat, the temperature, caused it to move.
That's why you do it inside of a building.
That's why you would do this. That's why you would do this. And I'm saying to you that there hasn't been a successful Cavendish in a vacuum chamber ever that we've seen objects mass attracting mass. That's
you
the
also
point.
wouldn't want to use something that's affected by magnetic fields, which lead
That's
is.
where lead is beautiful.
Lead is affected by magnetic fields.
Okay, we can use different. We can use different whatever material. And
All we need is acceleration. Yeah, all we need is acceleration. Therefore, sphere. Come on, man. Explain yourself.
Yeah, I can, and I have.
Well, you can't. By the sounds of it, it sounds like you're talking waffle to me.
No, but I still don't get the point now. But let's say, but hold on, Brommy. Let's say he's got the acceleration. What does that mean? What? Okay, you've got the acceleration.
Nothing. Means you don't understand what he's looking at. He thinks it's gravity, and he ain't got a clue.
Okay.
No, but Herms, with acceleration, there's usually a force behind that acceleration, right?
There is, but since you guys don't like to use the word force, I'm down to just simply go back to the very basic, which is an acceleration, right? We can all admit that we observe acceleration.
Yeah, but you're jumping the gun here. I'm trying to talk about whether we can...
acceleration upwards as well. I see balloons accelerating upwards into the sky. Does that mean there's a bending the warp of space-time reversed in fucking engineered?
Do you know why?
Hydrogen is lighter than nitrogen.
But do you know why?
So it's to do with the lightness of the materials, nothing to do with gravity. I'm with you now. I'm with you. It's nothing to do with gravity. It's to do with the lightness and density of the items, which is exactly what I'm arguing.
Low density material inside of a high density material, it's going to float up due to gravity. Sorry,
no, that's what you assume because you know what? Because you've got this downward force. Hold on, because you've got a contradiction. Because you've got a contradiction in your downward force, you have to make sure. Oh, it's still acting upon it, but it's going up. That's why the only reason you do it because you fucked up. And now you're trying to add stuff to it. Now you're trying to add stuff to gravity, and you're trying to explain things that contradict common sense. It contradicts common sense. Things accelerate down. Things accelerate up. You are wrong. Thank you very much.
Please don't explain it. Please don't explain it in a way everybody can understand. Okay, very intuitively, by the way. It's very common sense, actually.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Yeah, but Herms, I don't have a problem with your explanations. I like your explanations. They sound like we could actually go somewhere with your explanation. But the problem is, we seem to stop at the demonstration part. Because if I just believe what you say. Well, that would be like a religious order here, but I just believe what I've been told. So, yeah, what you're saying sounds compelling. I want to see mass attracting mass, but you're failing to show me. The question is why.
I mean, the only way I can show you that is if we, put our money together and buy the equipment. And that sounds like a good flat Earth project. I mean, that sounds like something maybe the server should do.
Right.
Besides that, let me just explain why things go up and goes down. Really, really simple. So let's say you have a sphere, okay, and you're in an atmosphere. Now we do know that there is a delta pressure between depending on your height, right, altitude, pressure decreases. We can prove this very easily with a barometer or any other method or any instrument. That's easily demonstratable. Now, if we realize that pressure above is less and pressure below is more, what that really translates to means more molecules hitting it underneath than it is on top, therefore creating a net force upwards. So there's an upwards force at all times acting on, and it's equivalent to the amount of mass that's displaced. Right?
Lemon, did you want to say something?
Yeah, there's less water gas up high.
Hold on, David, please.
Was explaining something?
Lemon.
I can continue if you want.
Sure.
No, well.
All right.
No, because I think we can explain it a lot better, the cause to the effect, whereas you're just giving us the theory of what you think is happening.
A huge helium balloon and a GoPro camera will show you pressure gradient.
Francis never electrified the masses, and the attraction was turned into repulsion, which may imply.
And we don't need voodoo to do it.
Electromagnetic electrostatic force. So the flat earthers are wondering if gravity is quite what we've been told or something else. And we don't see curvature, so scientifically it's hard to validate gravity without the curvature of the Earth to validate this theory.
Can you respond? Can you respond to Lemon directly? Lemon's saying there's nothing to validate. Something similar to what I was saying. So again, what you're saying, there's no problem with what you're saying. The explanation sounds great. The theory sounds wonderful. But how can we validate what you're actually saying? You're saying go and spend thousands of dollars, hundreds of dollars, whatever dollars, to go and verify what is supposed to have already been done.
Okay, so there was a group, a flat Earth group that wanted to disprove that the Earth is rotating and all that stuff. So they actually invested in a optical gyroscope, a lot of money.
15 degrees
and
per hour.
proved that exactly. There's a 15 degrees shift per hour. So again, it was fantastic. And that's what I like to see in the flat Earth community. Like
thanks, Bob.
Fervor, scientific fervor. You go, you have an idea that apparently it's very important, to a lot of people because
the best flat Earth proof. If you want the best flat Earth proof, this would be the water level is always horizontal, and so you'll never find the water at a lower elevation once it's at rest and found its level there, right?
You can explain it, if you explained it so easily, and yet you still nobody explained it at all, have you? Because I'm still sitting here thinking that was a great explanation. You explained absolutely nothing. Acceleration, therefore sphere, was an absolute terrible argument. And you're sitting there thinking, and you little night whites to help you. That's why Scott's getting involved now, because Scott obviously knows
you're saying that ear looks
Scott's
good.
the expert here.
Can you give me some of that ear? You're thinking about chomping on that ear, aren't you? That's what you're saying. You're getting that desperate. Go ahead, bite the ear off.
Scott, you're making no sense whatsoever. No sense.
The horizon rises toward eye level. So that's another problem for the globe because it should drop away immediately.
No, hold on. So Herms, did you hear that? What we're saying here, we're talking about the water level. Okay, it's always horizontal. Yes, never dropping away. So if the Earth were a globe, you would have to have an elevation drop. We never find that.
There is so the water, right, will be the same as the surface, which it's the distance, right, between the distance.
Falling apart.
Let him answer. Come on.
The distance between the surface of the water and the center of the Earth will always try to find level. Okay,
correct.
Just the way it is.
Correct.
Of gravity.
And once it's found its level, its horizontal plane of reference, you'll never find the water drop below that level, that altitude there in elevation.
Let me ask him a question.
I want to hear this question.
Hey, I got a question for you. If you took C4 miles versus the surface if you took the C4 miles versus the surface of the water and you measured it out for 100 miles, do you think that you would find curvature in that 100 miles of seafloor?
Yeah.
Sure. Yes, of course. Well, yes, of course. 100 miles? Yeah.
Wrong answer. Thank you very much.
So listen, Herms, let's say we establish a horizontal over a mile. At what point does that water start to curve or drop in elevation? Or let's say let's say we establish the horizontal after a meter, or 10 meters, or 250 meters. At what point will it start to drop in elevation?
It's always curved at every point. It's not at a certain point it suddenly drops.
No. Hold on. Slow down. Hold on.
Hey, Spurs, simple thing for you to do.
No, let me ask my question, please. Hold on. So like a meter ruler, you hold it in the air. It's not touching the ground. It's straight. So we can hold it so it's horizontal, right? So we put that straight and horizontal ruler on the ground. So what are you saying that there would be like an elevation? I'll be able to measure the curvature with that meter ruler, or that be completely horizontal?
You wouldn't be able to measure that. Nor would basically anyone with our current technology. But if we had a tool sensitive enough over a meter, yes, it would be possible to. In fact, it is possible to theoretically measure. Not all theoretically, we've actually measured variations in gravity. These are things that require incredible sensitive equipment. In fact, hold on 1 second, real quick. I was part of the great. I was one of the visitors, VIP visitors of the Great Satellite Launch, which my brother-in-law works in. And by the way, the way that satellite works, again, yeah, you can make fun of it all you want, say space is fake or whatever. I've been there. I'm not too space, but
Brother, work on that project.
All right. So listen, when we draw like a triangle, are you saying those lines in the triangle are curved? Or if I draw a square, are those lines curved?
Jumping around.
I don't know what the hell you mean by that.
So a square. If I were to draw a square, are those lines curved or straight?
Depends if you're drawing on a plane or a sphere, chemo.
Yeah, on what?
No, if I draw on a piece of paper on the table.
That's a plane triangle.
Yeah, so if I've got a piece of paper and I draw a square or a triangle, the lines, are they straight?
Yeah, technically yes, they are. Of course, you can go really crazy and say there's no straight lines in the universe and shit. You know, if you want, you can technically say.
That's what I'm asking. So when I draw a triangle, you're saying the lines are curving, yeah?
No, I'm not. I'm saying that they're on a paper. It's virtually straight.
Yeah. So if I draw like a square on a piece of paper, or if I draw a triangle on a piece of paper, the lines. So we can draw straight lines. Is what I'm asking. It's possible to.
Yes, it is. It is possible to draw virtually straight lines because I don't want to. You tell me that one atom is coming out, therefore it's not straight. I don't care.
So you're saying it's virtually straight, but not technically straight.
Technically, I don't think there's any. I don't know if we can. Maybe with even lasers, they have a thing, divergence.
So it's curved, but a negligent amount.
I mean, yeah, it's not smooth, the surface for sure. But yes,
well, isn't a straight line going from one point to another with as little deviation as possible?
Yeah,
I mean,
no. See, the question is, if you have this line on a piece of paper, let's say you had a really big piece of paper and you drew a really big square or a really big triangle. Now, is that line curving?
Actually, it can. It depends on the paper's state. If it's being flat, right? The paper, you can fold the paper right into a scroll, technically speaking.
You can't have your cake and eat it too, buddy.
Why?
I got a simple.
Because if you're saying that level is curved, and you're drawing this level line, then it has to be curved. Even if you can't notice it, if it's imperceivable, that's fine. But you can't say that you can have straight lines when level is curved, when everything
Draw a
is
line
straight.
on a piece of paper. Make it
So let me.
But if you make that line it's gonna level out, right?
Dude, let's make
how do you maintain its straightness?
Let's make it a stone tablet so it doesn't fold. Okay, so let's make it a stone tablet so it doesn't fold. Okay, because I don't want folding here because that's introducing a whole other can of worms. Okay, so let's say we have a flat, square stone tablet. If you draw a line on it, it is virtually straight. Yes. I'm not going to say it's 100% straight because that's a stupid thing to say in science, but it is, for all intents and purposes, a straight line. Yes.
Yes. Spurs, get a friend of yours and 2 small boats, go out on a large body of water about 100 miles apart.
Holy shit.
Up and try to see each other across that body of water. Try everything you can do from 100 miles apart. On a body
do that 100 miles apart. It's so easy. Do that 100 miles apart, and you'll figure it out.
Telescopes.
Yeah, 100 miles with a telescope, and you'll figure out on the water.
On a flat plane, you should be able to see one another. Even 100
Stop making it sound hard, Sticky.
Just go out into a large body of water and go 100 miles away with a telescope, and you'll figure
when
it
you say it like that, when you say 100 miles, it sounds really hard.
Well, when you look through a telescope, you're not
go
getting
100
a straight.
kilometers then.
You're not getting a straight line when you look through a telescope, guy.
If it was flat on a flat plane, 100 kilometers apart, you should be able to see each other.
Why?
This guy doesn't know about
How does that work? That doesn't make any sense.
Think about it.
Problem is that globers are relying on very curving distortion-y lenses to establish the curvature of the Earth. They need to use a straight traveling laser
to
old
check Chinese telescope would work.
Can I just want to say something?
Telescope guy, do you know about refraction?
know extremely well about refraction, but I don't
So
care.
what makes you think you're going to get a straight line looking over 100 miles?
Exactly.
Or 10
I'm
miles?
not using a straight line. I said you should be able to see one another if there's no curve. In two small boats, 100 miles apart, you should
Did
be
you
able to see
factor
one
in
another.
refraction?
Did you factor in perspective? Can you see a boat 100 miles
You're
away?
on the damn water. Both of you are on the water.
You can
so
see
you're getting
100
rid
miles
of the
away.
idea of perspective.
Well, you can't forget about angular resolution. You can't see forever, even over a flat plane, because eventually the angles are too compressed due to angular resolution, dirty
That's where a
earth, and
telescope
refraction
comes
over
in.
a flat plane.
Telescope. Again, that's where the telescope comes in.
But even a telescope has a limit of angular resolution, though.
And get a big telescope.
So how many feet below is your friend from 100 miles away from you?
Exact. Good point, Stiggy.
Actually, there's a website that calculates that, but there's a website that calculates curvature for you exact. So if you're
Well, we know,
interested,
Stiggy, if you're 1 foot, we know the horizon is about a mile away.
The general mechanism appears to be things and compress into your eye level over the flat plane. So eventually things can compress into your eye level.
So are they saying that theoretically that the person is below the eye level on the water, so they're actually, you could put a water telescope in the water and see them lower than you are?
Potentially, if it were a curved ball.
Yeah, right? Yeah, you could potentially see through it and see them lower than you. Oh, interesting. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Your eye level splits your vision into two halves. The stuff above your eye level ramps down, but no further towards your eye level, and stuff below your eye level ramps up like the train tracks. And right in the middle, you have a convergence zone at eye level, making your eye line or the horizon.
Can you answer that, Herms?
Guys, I'm not gonna, because I'm not an expert in that field, okay? But I can tell you one thing.
But we are experts in this. Is what we're trying to tell you.
But I'm not. I would rather not dabble into that. And actually, let me just say something that I've noticed about certain fields that are dishonest is a constant shifting of the subject. Okay, I'm just saying, if you want to try and define the truth, you find one part of the story and you stick to it. Let's say it was gravity. I would say, which is really,
no, Herms, you forgot. I said this is the best flat Earth proof. Remember, we went for the globe proof. You couldn't prove gravity. We moved on because you just had a theoretical idea.
We shouldn't move on, though. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying we shouldn't move on.
Yeah, but again, we broke down because you didn't have a practical. You said, "Oh, we can prove."
Sometimes we must move on.
Put money and make it. I mean, sure. If you guys listen, there's a vacuum chamber, right? That NASA holds the largest vacuum chamber. I forgot where it was located, right? Seriously, we can contact them. Right? Set up an event. Mm-hmm. We ask them to set up a vacuum, in that giant chamber if they can for us, and we'll say this is like a giant flat Earth event, and then maybe they'll be even nice enough to even like provide us with some of the stuff, but even if they're not, we'll set up an experiment. I mean, I think that's how we should go instead of constantly juggling between subjects and not achieving anything or reaching any conclusions. Because we did reach a conclusion.
We did, Herms. Don't worry, we did. We realized that you just have a theory, right? A theoretical idea.
That does help to move on to other things that help amplify the truth a little bit, because sometimes, we can be so narrow and myopic with our focus. We miss the big picture, and that's why it's good to bring other stuff to play to help amplify the picture a little bit.
And then we moved on to the best flat Earth proof. That was just mine. Lemon may have something different. Jeremy's got something else. Everyone's got something that they find is the best proof of a flat Earth. And I say the horizontal water level. You cannot show, Herms, that below the established horizontal plane of reference, that the water level drops below that. And if you can show that, then of course we can give up the flat Earth, right? Because you'll show curvature.
So what you guys are doing is, let me explain what you guys are doing. So the positive, so there's this claim, right, that the Earth is a globe. And what you guys are doing is you're trying to attack it from all angles. Yeah, right? That's what you're doing. You're saying, if this is this, then how come this is that?
Under heavy attack,
right? How come this is that? That's all you're doing. While you haven't provided an actual, there is no flat Earth, like the universally agreed flat Earth model. So for us, for anyone,
we have half a model.
Anyone to try, well, I don't know if you have any presented, but as far as I know, right, and I have argued with multiple flat earthers.
But most of the flat earthers don't believe in models, Herbs. They say it's a reification fallacy, you know?
Reification fallacy, which, by the way, is a really, really dishonest way of dismissing gravity, which was one way that was used. They were like, "Oh, it's just an idea." No, it's not an idea, dude.
The thing is, the idea doesn't have all the proof. We haven't gone to the center of mass to see if gravity matches this conception in our mind that we're reifying. And so if there is no correlation in reality to this idea that we're reifying, well, then maybe gravity is not what we think at all.
We don't know what gravity is. We don't know what
you guys need to start using reify correctly.
You're not. We don't know what gravity is, right?
It's reification if you're talking about a center of mass, but nobody has ever been to the center of mass to correlate it back to reality.
That's not reification.
You know what center of mass is? Do you actually know what center of mass is? It's like a mathematical point.
Enlighten me.
All right, so it's like the point of balance of an object, basically. It's a mathematical concept.
Does this thing have any sort of correlation to reality beyond mental abstraction, or is this just an idea that we're reifying?
Well, it has correlation to reality in the sense that the center of mass, you can balance shit on it, and you can
where is
it in the computer.
The Earth? Where is it?
It depends on the object.
Do you have any coordinates for it? Do you have a compelling testimony from anybody who has been to said center of mass and seen stuff pulled to the center? If you do not, then maybe you're talking about a reified idea with little to no relation to reality in reference to the Earth.
Bit of a
Lemon, the coordinates are 0, 0, 0.
Ridiculous crap.
Oh my god. Okay,
0, 0, 0. Let me write this down. 0, 0.
So Herms, so you've had a short encounter with the flat earthers. I mean, what do you think? Where do you think we're going wrong?
Where do I think you guys are going wrong? One is the multiple direction thing, where it's like you're going in all directions, so you're going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's like going up, down, left, right, forward, backwards.
What do you think we need?
Follow to gravity.
I think that really finding one specific point of focus. So one really good thing to prove, the model. You guys have a model, right? The flat Earth model. Instead of trying to disprove the flat Earth model, I think it would be really awesome if you guys made a flat Earth model and tried to prove it instead of trying to disprove the flat Earth model. Sorry, the globe Earth model. God damn it. That would be, I think, a much more intellectually rigorous task, obviously, because you would have to make a model that works out. And I think that rigorous process will take out a lot of the bullshit. That's what I think.
Is your globe model, is that a scientific model or?
The globe model,
mathematical.
Yeah, I guess you could say it's scientific.
Well, it's mathematical.
We only got one globe Earth model.
Yes, it's a scientific model because it can be used to make predictions.
Yeah.
Okay, you got a scientific. All right, you got a scientific model, and what do we do in science? We try to falsify things, right?
We do. That is a good
tell
part.
Jeremy go on to the next
That is a good part. We do try to. That's one awesome thing about science is that it is tentative. Therefore, like what you used to believe beforehand is not necessarily what is going to be the truth. Because
that's
self-correct.
That's what we do. We're falsifying the shit out of your model, pseudoscience model.
Okay, but you're presenting at the same time you're presenting the flat Earth model. You see, it would be a lot more honest, right, if it was the globe Earth skeptic community, not a flat Earth community. And if there's
we have a model. If you want a model, have you not seen Walter Bislin's flat Earth model?
I
have seen it. It makes zero sense.
Okay, and that too. I'm just saying again, it will be much better.
Let's look at that point. You said it doesn't make sense. So to the average person,
I've compared the sky view
to the average person, the globe model doesn't make sense because you say the Earth is 3959, therefore the horizon should be in this place, but we don't find that. So your model is not working out. So why are you using a broken model?
Okay, so
why are you pushing forward your broken model?
Dude,
no, we don't have a model. Although people are working on one.
20 seconds ago, can someone go look in the live stream?
No, we have a model, but Walter
It's
Bisley
incomplete.
made this model. But I mean, again, I'm not really bothered. If you want to look at it, that's up to you. But we have a model. If you want to look at it, yeah.
All right. So you
It's
guys got a
very
model?
incomplete,
Great.
though.
Great. So
What's
again, I'm
incomplete
telling you,
about it?
If
The
you want
fact that we can't actually traverse past the 60th parallel south, so like we don't have a full map of the Earth and stuff.
Well, you're going to have to take into account the light bending properties and the way that refraction. I mean, the sun is brought down towards the horizon. Is this accounted for? You know, I mean, we've got the lunar eclipse. Again, with the atmosphere playing a part, there could be an extra celestial body in the sky covering the moon, covering the sun. We just don't know.
Yeah, who knows? There's no shame in saying we don't know.
Yeah, we just don't know. They're already guessing, saying that we do know. But their model doesn't work because, again, the rate of curvature is not there.
Yeah, they're fools.
Okay.
You're saying you don't know, and we just say we do know because we have
we
maps
don't know.
that show exactly what the Earth looks like.
Same as saying I don't know, but just with a fancy answer. I don't know, but we're going to guess it's a ball with curvature.
All science basically is inductive arguments, which means it's not guaranteeing the conclusion. It's really important to know this. It's not guaranteeing the conclusion of the premises. There's no guarantee. However, science is the best inductive argument currently based on our current knowledge. It is the best inductive argument. That's all science is. So we can't say we know for certain something is that. I mean, for all we know, this could be a virtual reality, right? I don't know. We don't really know. We don't even know if this is all a dream or not.
No, you don't know because you've been indoctrinated. Don't speak for everybody else. We're aware.
So do you know?
We're aware of what we're standing on, and it's not curving.
But
it is curving, and there has been ample evidence from gyroscopes to visual evidence, which you can call it CGI all you want. I don't care. I know it's real. There is evidence in the form of what do you call it? Logical reasoning, which is again from Cavendish to gravity to normal force being perpendicular to the surface. Acceleration being perpendicular to the surface, which is not possible in a circular model of any kind. In fact, the only model that the pull, right, the acceleration is perpendicular to the surface is a sphere. That's the only mathematical model where it's possible. So
again, you talk about the possible and what's possible. So again, your model states that you can have gas pressure without the container next to a vacuum. This is impossible practically. You could never ever demonstrate that you could have gas pressure without the container, gas pressure next to the vacuum. And again, you talk about possibility.
Actually, you can demonstrate it too, by the way. So you can demonstrate it too. So you can have plasma, by the way, and you can focus it or hold it in a specific spot where there's actual vacuum around it and there's like a glowing like plasma in the center. How the plasma is staying in the center is because the magnetic field is confining it to that specific location or whatever. So it's the same thing.
Is it in a container?
Kind of.
Plasma,
there's no container. There's no. You can literally.
Hold on, Jeremy. He's got. What do you say? You've got gas pressure next to a vacuum with no container.
All right. You want me to explain how it works? So imagine a bunch of balls, right? They're falling.
Jeremy, what did he say? Did he say he's got the gas pressure next to the vacuum?
He doesn't have. He said he's got.
Please let me explain this thing, okay? How it's possible for gas to be near a vacuum? How is that possible? First of all, I want to present a very simple logical conclusion. We notice a pressure gradient, right? We do. This is very easy possible to demonstrate. You can get a barometer, just go up altitude and you'll notice it. Okay, so logically, right, if you continue the altitude, and if the pressure decreases, what is the logical outcome?
So if the pressure decreases, it would get less and less and less, and then it'd be space. Obviously,
it'll approach vacuum, right?
You state the obvious things. Obviously, if the Earth were a ball, and obviously if there were gas pressure, obviously it would get thinner and thinner, and obviously it would go into space. What's your point?
Exactly.
So but you're not making a point here.
We can prove this with a barometer and varying your altitude. So if we can prove that, then there is observable evidence. However, if you want to also think about it, as a thought experiment, What's happening is that these molecules are falling down the same way everything else is. Right? They're falling down. Hence,
Like London Bridge.
They're not
hence
falling.
They're not escaping the Earth. Right? Earth's what do you call it?
They're not falling down like everything else.
They're not going to jump into space and go off into whatever. Right? They're not just
I
going
bet
to
the
jump
flat
off.
earthers around the world are going berserk right now.
It's just these molecules.
What causes a decrease and increase in the pressure?
What causes a decrease and increase? Great question. Right? Very good question. Okay, so if you have like a bunch of weights, right, and if you keep on going underneath it, if you have a bunch of books stacked on each other and you put your hand between them, right? Let's say you put it between it and it's like near the bottom. You know what I mean? There's going to be more pressure on it. If you go up, right, there's 10 books stacked and you put your hand between the second one, there's going to be
but we're talking about hold on, we're talking about a gas.
Yeah,
we're talking about a gas. We're not talking about books.
But it's the same principle. It's the same principle. There's more molecules.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. If you heat up books, is it going to increase the pressure?
Okay. This is. Let me tell you what
Get
this is
him,
called. Red herring, by the way. But I'll explain what.
Good job.
What this is. Okay. Heating up is its vibration, right? More kinetic energy. Okay. So if you were gonna extend that to the book, heating it up would be like it's vibrating. That's it. Okay, I don't know how it's relevant to this.
Like the song "Good Vibrations."
What I was saying though is that there's more weight.
Wait a minute though. Hold on a second.
Go on, let's Stingy respond. Because you're going on, Holmes.
There's literally more gas molecules above you, the more below you go. It's the same for water. If you go in a pool, right, the more depth you have, the more weight of water is above you. It's very simple.
Let me get in real quick. There's so many things wrong with what you've been saying in the past few minutes. I don't even know where to start.
I know he says so many things.
The Beach Boys.
First
the Beach Boys are known for teaching everything we need to know about good vibrations, right?
First of all, you said you had gas pressure without a container, but then you said you had plasma. All right. Then you analogized books to gas pressure to gas. Which is a terrible analogy, which you're famous for, all the Globers.
Famous? The book analogy is famous? Really? I just made it up on the spot.
No, you're famous for Globers are famous for having bad analogies.
Oh. No. Okay.
No. Yes, Jem even agrees with me on this.
No.
Jem agrees with me. You're
okay, because if Jem agrees, it's true.
Good ad homs, bro.
I got a question for Hermes though.
What's up?
Are you familiar with the Operation Starfish Prime, the military test? Well, the government was using nuclear missiles to try and crack the dome, and you can just see the missiles exploding up against the dome, like something out of like a movie when they hit the shield generators in Independence Day. It looks just like that.
Mm-hmm.
You can watch the public YouTube videos of the film recordings that were done at the time. That seems like a pretty indisputable proof of a dome, don't you think?
I'm quite skeptical, but what was it called again? Operation?
Yeah, Operation Starfish Prime.
Fish Prime.
Yeah, they shoot nuclear missiles to try and crack the dome because NASA and the government, they try to crack that dome. And all that happened was it just bounced off the dome, and it just looks like, in Independence Day when they're they're all gung ho and they send all those fighters to try and shoot down the spaceship, and they all shoot their missiles, but then all they're doing is just bouncing the missiles off the dome, the explosions. Not the dome, but I mean their shield generators.
The force shield, yeah, the shield.
I get the picture. The
force
picture.
shield.
Yeah, like a shield, yeah.
Jake, post some videos of that, Jake.
I will look into that myself when I have time, and I will go through it thoroughly. And before I make any judgments, that's what I'm going to do. Because I don't know. I mean, for all
Even slow it down. Slow the frame rate down.
I only make my judgments based on the strongest
frame rate.
Inductive arguments. That's it. That's what I reserve it for.
Did you go to the same school as Scott did? Because you and Scott sound pretty much identical in logic.
I have no idea what Scott is. But I did actually take logic though. That is correct. I was
he also debated forensics.
I debated one guy. Yeah, I don't remember who it was. Some guy.
You
named,
sound like another. You sound like another Brian Steltner. You know who Brian Steltner is?
I'm really bad with names. I might know his face.
I haven't seen this much global Earth energy since Zanuck.
Holmes, why don't you tell Stiggy here what's your second best proof of the globe? You said gravity. What's the second best proof? Stiggy can try and tackle that.
Second best proof.
You've got a body of evidence, right? You've got gravity. How else do you know it's a globe?
All right. I would say the second best, in my perspective, is the gyroscope one, which I think is really fantastic. Because with a gyroscope and an accelerometer, actually, if you want to like literally map out the globe, you could literally, because it's measuring your rotation in space, and an accelerometer will measure your acceleration.
So what's the RPM the gyroscope has to get up to?
I'm not familiar. I'm assuming it has to be fucking crazy, but a good one would be a good alternative would be using an optical one, which by the way is fantastic, very accurate, and very expensive.
But what I'm saying is there a certain RPM that it just cannot figure out what the Earth is, and then once you get it up to that other rotation, then it's like, oh, now it can figure it out.
No, not it's all gradients.
Mr. Scott, come on, let them
There's
speak.
no qualitative jump. There's no qualitative jump. It's continuous. It's all gradients. It's not like after X point, all of a sudden it proves Earth.
You're taking advantage of minor, by the way.
Oh, Mr. Scott, we can ask you what your best proof of that on a globe, if you want.
I wanted to ask Sticky. If he's about RPMs actually, but it can wait.
Yeah, let's carry on. Carry on, Holmes, Sticky. That was good. So let's get this gyro.
Yeah, like I said, it doesn't really. The more accurate and the easier you want it to be measured, I guess I'm assuming the faster, the higher the RPM will have to be. I presume. I don't really know exactly. The larger the diameter.
But that's your second best.
It is because I know an optical one works for fact, and I'm sure mechanical ones work too. I don't know the exact RPM. I'm sorry. You can talk to any of the aviation companies.
Not the RPM. It depends on the moment of inertia and the RPM.
And the diameter, and there's so many variables. Yes, but I'm just saying if you want to get the exact measurements, you can contact any of these aviation companies. They all have gyroscopes on board. It's just like required, as far as I know.
Right, but I thought that was based off of the craft they were in. I thought it was based off because of the craft that they were in, and
it's just important to know where you are at any. Like if you're in an aerial vehicle, it's good to have an idea of where you are, what your rotation is, and shit like that. That's why they have it. It's a useful tool for navigation to have. And missiles have it, by the way. All missiles use that technology. Basically, it's like
isn't the gyro mostly is just to keep the object that the gyro's in stable?
No, not at all. The gyroscope is to measure rotations, basically like rotations.
Wait, measure the rotation of the craft, though.
Yeah. Measure the rotation in space, yes, of the craft or the missile or whatever, of yourself if you're holding it. You know what I mean? Like, whatever.
Right. Or over a non-rotating reference.
It just measures. Like, so if you're holding it, right, that's the starting point. Any alteration to your rotation after that can be measured with the gyroscope from the starting point.
Okay, so how is it measuring curvature though?
How is it measuring curvature? So the globe Earth model, if you subscribe to it or don't, regardless, the model presents that we're on the surface and the Earth is actually spinning. Now, if it is spinning, there is a angular shift or angular change, right? And that can actually be measured accurately to 15 degrees per hour with a gyroscope. You can actually do that. And it has been done by a flat Earth group that did it, that tried to actually disprove the globe Earth, and they actually managed to prove it.
What flat Earth group would do such a thing?
I'll see if I can find it. One sec. Let me Google it.
But be prepared. He's about to publish something else showing you that even when you change altitude, it's the same.
Yeah, it's okay, Don.
Be prepared, guys.
Make sure Don gets his word in.
No, nobody heard you because somebody was already talking.
Curve heard that shit.
Hear you. Nobody heard you. I'm saying, like, I didn't even understand one word you said because somebody was already talking.
Let him be not heard. He
Y'all
deserves
be ready. Bob Nodell says he's going to publish new results.
So
about
what happened
that
in that
gyro.
case? Did the room
But he was talking
move
about the
under?
curve, man, not the rotation anyway. So
What happens with the precession? Are you saying the gyro stays still and then the room turns underneath the gyro?
No, I'm not.
this
I'm
is
not
tough.
saying that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just. It's kind of like when the
Well, then
gyroscope
what's
is
moving?
spinning. When the gyroscope is spinning, it's basically kind of like locked. Kind of, you can think of it that way. It's like locked in space time. It's like take a snapshot of the rotation, and any other external forces will cause the rings to rotate in a way that's measurable. Now, I don't. Again, I'm not going to throw the math.
Have you done this yourself?
I asked you about
I'm not
fucking
expert at this.
curve.
I have played with a gyroscope before.
But have you done it yourself?
Gravity reference to showing the center of the sphere vector rather than.
Well, I mean, have you
just down over
demonstrated the
plane. That's
rotation
why it shows
yourself with your
curve when it's
gyroscope?
traveling with one. Oh my god.
Don, there's mad people talking. What made you think it was your turn to talk?
Yeah,
It's
Don.
always Don's turn to talk.
I don't know why you did that.
Hermes, have you done this yourself with your gyroscope?
Yes, I've had a gyroscope before.
You've shown the Earth rotation on a gyroscope?
No, I haven't shown the Earth's rotation on a gyroscope. Guess what? By the way, guess what? I don't have enough money to buy an optical gyroscope. I don't have one. But the Flat Earth community, which was in a Netflix documentary Behind the Curve, they spent $20,000 buying a laser gyroscope. Okay, they did it for me, right? They did it for me. So I don't.
So you just think this will work, but you don't actually know if it would work.
However, if you're willing to fund it,
Yeah, but Herms,
if you're willing to put your money where your mouth is, I'm all down. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but you're just saying that this works, but you haven't seen it work yourself.
God.
But this is figuring out what's moving. Is it
Dake's
space
mic is
over
really
the
loud.
unmoving Earth that's moving, or the Earth itself? Because it looks like the luminiferous ether is moving over the Earth, giving you the 15 degree per hour shift in the gyro.
No, that's
and
the
that
sun.
shift actually changes. It's
The sun, Hermes, moves at 15 degrees per hour, right?
No,
Yes.
the sun is not moving at 15 degrees an hour. The Earth is spinning at 15
Not the
degrees
Earth,
per
the
hour.
sun.
Sorry. No, the Earth is spinning. And you know, you can easily prove this too, another way too. Just look in the sky, right, and just do like one of those the time-lapse things, you know, where like the exposure is left on, and you'll notice these circular patterns. It's like circles, 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 and circles. And the only thing that matches that is if you're the one that's spinning. You know why? Because those other stars are all at various distances, and this can be proven using for parallax or whatever. But all of them are moving at exactly the right speed to create a circular pattern. Now, there's two well, you can see it. You can see it. Let me show you. Let me get an image.
How did you figure this?
Before I went on.
Smarter than all of us.
Guy goes on way more than I do.
So if you go on anywhere, just stand somewhere and start spinning in a circle, and if you trace the points, like if you stick if you're in a room with a bunch of lights and you spin, right, you're gonna notice these circles of light, right? Because the light is moving, right? As you're rotating, it will look like it's moving at least, and you'll get these circular patterns. That's perfectly circular, and the only thing that explains that is Earth rotating. That's it.
But that's not the only thing that explains that. Sometimes you get banding up and banding down in the same sky. You can't have that from one motion. That's like looking out the window of a moving train and seeing the scenery move to the left and the right. One motion, one trail. So you should see the stars go one way or the other, but not both ways. That either
I haven't seen it go both ways. I don't see it go both ways. I've never seen
Chris Van Matra showed that you have star trails banding up and down in the same sky at the same time. You cannot have that from one motion
like that.
unless the sky has solidity, unless magnetic fields are twisting the light, or something is happening due to perspective, or all three.
Magnetic field twisting the light? What? That does. Gravity?
How did you figure out this rotation thing, Arms?
Look into the Faraday effect. It's magnetic fields
twisting. Yeah, Faraday.
Light.
It's all Faraday, bro.
So that can happen over a flat plane.
Yay. Arms, how did you figure this out?
Figure what out?
How come we've never noticed this before? Why do you bring it to our attention now after all this time?
Because I just jumped in here today, That's why. I mean, I've been here for a long time, but I just jumped into the room for the first
Can I let you know a secret? If magnetic field in any way, shape, or form affected lights and light beams or light rays or light travel in any way, shape, or form, we would not have ever had standard CRT televisions with clear pictures.
That is very true.
Secondly, if light was affected by a magnetic field in any way, shape, or form, you would not be able to use a lighting source to generate a projector to project images on a wall, because there's
Yet the
usually
Faraday
a
effect is known.
transformer near the light source. It would have interfered, and the light would not have been clear on the wall for like
Yet
a movie
the
projector.
effect is known, so you're going to need to deal with that. It is known that magnetic fields twist light.
No, they don't. That's a given fact.
And I feel like we're twisting something.
The Faraday effect.
No pun intended. We're just like jumping from one thing to another all the time. And
Yeah, is Stiggy satisfied with the gyroscope?
I can fire a light through a 10 Tesla magnetic field, and it will not deflect that light beam. And if you don't
hold on, Herms. So do you agree then that the rotation of the gyro could be ether, it could be the sun? We just don't know what it is.
Ether does not exist.
No, I don't know if it's the ether. I'm not saying the ether. I'm just saying that it could be something else.
No.
It's
the only thing it can be is physical movement of said device. This is the only thing possible.
The ether exists. We're just going to have to disagree.
Ether is absolutely bullshit. It's as fake as God.
Okay, hold on.
The thing is, you keep on going to the solidity of space like the ether exists with quantum fields, quantum fluid, quantum foam, Casimir effect, zero-point energy field. You keep on returning the very ether-like effects, but you won't call it the ether for some reason. That doesn't make sense.
You know why?
Space has some sort of solidity and properties.
You know why?
It's obvious based off of the way that physics keeps on returning back to space like it is something with solid physical properties.
All you would need to...
There's a reason, a good reason why. So let me just say there's a good reason why we don't just say ether for all those things. There's specific names for specific phenomena. You know, there's quantum foam, yes. There's virtual particles, which by the way are not virtual. They exist for a very short period of time. All these weird things are out there, right? Nobody is disagreeing with that. There's a lot of weird specific things out there with very specific names. But to lump it all up as ether, as this is very unscientific. It's overgeneralization. And it's
Herms, you see the problem now, by any other name is ether. It's physical. It's space with physical properties, aka an ether.
So you see the problem here, Herms, is that it's not conclusive. Is there any other way we can know the Earth is rotating?
Well, gyroscope being one, gravity being another.
No, the gyroscope is there. We have to dismiss that because it could be anything.
Why?
Because it could be anything.
All you need,
because think about it, Holmes. We could spend all day arguing about what is the cause, right? We need something else to verify that it is actually rotation.
Yeah, you're saying the cause is torque from the rotation of Earth. That's an assumption.
I can, yeah, that is the cause. But hold on,
I can use an interferometer and prove the Earth's rotation.
You can follow your train of thought, right? Because
you are assuming it. You are assuming it, young man.
Hold on, I'm gonna follow your train of thought. Okay, so if we can't, for certain, prove anything, for certain, right? Which science is inductive, which means we can't, basically. Then there's no point arguing or explaining or thinking about anything. There's no point, right? No point.
Well, the thing is, we have two possible roads here. We need to see which road is more consistent with reality. What power is moving the Earth if it is on pillars on top of a watery deep? It would be very stable and unable to move. So at that point, once that becomes known, then it becomes space over the Earth that has more flexibility and power to move than the fixed, stationary, unmoving Earth, does it not?
The Earth is not sitting on pillars. That is so cartoony fake, it's not funny. The Earth does not sit on pillars.
All right. Can we get Herms back? Herms.
How can you say that when sonography and sounding and geology can sound up to 300 miles of thick Earth crust, and say that there's more stuff beyond that they don't even know it's down there? How can you say that when we're sounding down there 300 miles plus and seeing more land? These plates of land at least appear to be extremely thick and extremely deep down. So at that point, what power would move that?
We probably have an ether core limit.
But
I mean, we don't even know what's down there. It could be, land on pillars on top of a watery deep, just like the scripture said. Where the monkey down there with no real indicator of what's actually down there in the first place.
I'm going to point out dishonest method here. Hold on, there's something dishonest here. Okay, you were just a while back. You were using this whole, I'm a skeptic. I won't believe anything, unless there's proof or whatever. That you were using that, and even if there was a good inductive reasoning proven there, you're like, unless it's 100% certain, I'm not going to believe in it. And at the same time, right now, you're peddling the pillar theory, where you're presenting a positive claim while being a super skeptic. At the same time, you're not being a skeptic towards your own positive claim. I find that to be highly dishonest.
No, because we have a device.
What's the point here? Skepticism or finding the truth? I am skeptical of a gravity force that pulls to the center with no compelling testimony to say that we've been to the center and seen stuff pulled to this Newtonian gravity center. I'm extremely skeptical of space-time if nobody has put space-time in a jar and it sounds like they just jocked and stole the ether. I'm very suspicious of this whole thing.
Why don't you put ether in a jar?
The ether. The ether was an idea back in the day, which stemmed from the idea that there has to be a medium for waves to travel through. And there was what was it, the Michael Morleyson experiment? I don't remember the dude. They did the experiment, and they actually, guess what, debunked. By the way, that experiment was done so many times over, by the way, as you guys have not heard of that. But maybe you have, maybe you have not, I don't know. But there's a shit ton of that experiment done, again, with much more precise equipment.
It has Mickelson Morley tattooed on it.
If you're interested in it, you can go look at all the other experiments too.
Space has to be something with properties. Space cannot be nothing. That's absurd.
So, Holmes, look, we seem to be at a middle ground here. We think it's not the Earth rotation. You think it is. So, how can we move forward? How can we know that the Earth is actually moving?
Two choices: either the Earth is moving, and/or space over the Earth is moving with properties that can affect the gyroscope.
Right.
Those appear to be.
Can I just take a moment, just one moment, please, to thank Herms for bringing this fresh look, all of this new information.
I'd like to thank him too. Thanks, Herms. This really is a great insight and a great look.
We've never looked at any of this from these angles.
Not quite. Not quite.
I am extremely grateful, Herms. Never heard any of this.
Thank you, Herms.
He's the true patriot for the globe.
We appreciate her. So, Herms, we're at a point now where how do you respond, Herms? We're saying that it could be either or.
Well, we'll do the scientific method, right? So we'll look at both ideas, and we'll both hypotheses. One hypothesis is that the rotation of the Earth is what's causing the rotation, and the torque of the Earth is what's causing the rotation of the gyroscope, which can be measured. Or what you're saying is that there's this ether that's causing it to rotate. Now,
yeah, that sounds great to me. Now, let's go with the first hypothesis. So let's say the Earth caused the gyro to give a reading, right? So if this is science, how do we manipulate the Earth turn to ensure that it's the cause of the device there, the ring laser gyro?
Well, what we can do is create a mathematical model and see if the prediction matches the mathematical model.
I know, yeah, but in science,
but we'll do the experiment, right? And if it matches the mathematical model, then it's a good sign. Well, another thing we should do at the same time is do the same thing for the ether experiment, right?
Hold on, you talk about jumping all over the place. Hold on, slow down. So the first, we're going to look at the first. We've got the hypothesis that the Earth is the cause of this ring laser gyro, right? To get the rotation there. So in order to verify that it's the actual cause to this effect, we're going to need to be able to manipulate the cause, our independent variable, right?
Yes.
Right. So how do we physically manipulate our independent?
I'll tell you how. It's simple. It's really, really simple. So a gyroscope, right? This is 15 degrees per hour. Is really small, right? It's really, really small. But there are a lot of other experiments you can do with a gyroscope, with a rotating object. You can go in a car, have a gyroscope, do a couple turns, you know what I mean, and then measure the correlation between how the gyroscope moves and your rotation. You can do that. And
but I asked you about the cause to the effect. You said rotation. So how did you manipulate the rotation?
I just said it, that you can't rotate the Earth more or less. That's obvious. You can't.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah,
It's your hypothesis. No, it's not. It's your hypothesis. No, it's not. You said the cause was Earth turn.
He
So
just explained it to you. You
in
just
your head,
ignored it.
in your mind, you're thinking, well, yeah, I can manipulate my independent variable, which is the Earth turn. So it's not too much. How did you manipulate it?
You can what you can do also is, and here's another cool part. What you can also do is move the location, right? The location where you are, and that will also
give us another effect,
When
a different
did Earth
effect.
ever not turn?
But hold on, will it give the same? You said if we move, will it get this? Will we get the same effect or a different effect?
If you move,
When you put the gyroscope on the equator.
You'll get.
You can't manipulate us not moving.
No, but
therefore say
I'm
this is
interested in
moving.
let's
You
say
have to
he
turn
moves.
moving on and turn moving off.
Here's a good idea. What you can do. I mean, it's so crazy.
It is crazy. But just walk me through it. Let's look at your hypothesis, Herms. Look, I'm looking at your hypothesis. I'm asking you, how can we do this scientifically, not mathematically? I know you can give it a number.
Michelson Morley already did it by saying that space was, making light slow down in the interferometer. So we should be able to get a mathematical, speed of the Earth moving through said ether. Now, they were able to get 5 to 8 kilometers a second, but they needed 30 kilometers per second to justify the notion of the Earth moving in space. So they got ether, just not enough to justify the Earth moving through the ether.
No, as I said, the experiment was done multiple times afterwards that, accounted for those errors in measurements, because back when they did it was really primitive, the tools they used. If you're interested, look into the more advanced ones that were done with very modern laser equipment. But let's go back to the gyroscope.
Terribly sorry to push you. Terribly sorry to push you on this, Herms. But look, you said my independent variable in my hypothesis, you said was the Earth turn. You said the cause of my gyroscope rotation was Earth turn. But if that's your independent variable, you're going to need to be able to manipulate it to make sure it's not something else. Because if it's something else, how are you going to know if you don't manipulate your independent variable?
There's another way of doing it, because as you know, it's impossible to move something that weighs as much as the Earth. I'm sorry.
No, but what I'm trying to say, hold on, because look, what I'm saying is if you go down your path, you leave it open to, it could be something else.
No, you can't.
No?
You know why? Because
Why?
you do a simultaneous experiment. You do two experiments. Okay, just kind of like you're doing two formulas for a linear.
Well, then what's the other
equation.
experiment?
Well, the other experiment is you get a car, a vehicle, any vehicle. You put a gyroscope. You move the vehicle, and then you measure the correlation between the movement of the vehicle and the gyroscope.
Yeah.
The rotation.
So we've got.
And you have a model there. Okay, you've seen it based on observation. And then what you do is you also do another experiment, which is you would get a gyroscope on a fixed surface. You just let it stay there for hours, and then you compare and contrast. Okay, so you say, hey, there's a 15 degree per hour rotation, and it follows the same logic as when the gyroscope was in the vehicle and it was rotating. It's you following the same mechanism, so we can kind of like indirectly.
All right, explain this to me then. So every morning, 6 o'clock, the sun rises, the cockerel crows. Did the cockerel cause the sun to rise?
No, of course not. Correlation is not causation. Not necessarily causation. I'm familiar with that. Yeah, sure.
No, but why not? The cockerel crows, the sun rises.
Because correlation is not necessarily causation. That's all it is correlation.
How do we know it's correlation then? Why I observe. Yeah, but I observe the sun every time.
If you can't isolate the cause, you're going to have to settle for a very strong correlation unless you have some way of isolating and testing the cause. So you try to make the experiment as rigorous as possible.
All right. Once there's a 1-to-1 correlation, you can basically say there's a causation. Okay?
Yeah, so we can say the cockerel causes the sun to rise.
Right, but is it possible? Is it possible for the sun to rise?
No, what I'm asking is, how do I test that it's not the cockerel? Do I use mathematics or do I do a practical test?
You would have to cut out the cockerel's vocal cords and see if the sun rose with or without his call, or tape his beak shut, or put him to sleep.
No,
change
but Lemon,
his schedule.
The equations,
There's a couple
the
ways
equations say yes, the cockerel was the cause. If I can calculate it at the right time perfectly, that when the sun rises, the cockerel will crow.
Okay. So what? All you're doing is.
So I'm asking you then, how can I verify that it's not the cockerel?
Because you would need to demonstrate that the mechanism is there, that the cockerel has this sun, rising power.
Bear in mind, Holmes, you said you can't manipulate the Earth turn. You said that's ridiculous. Yes. So I'm saying we can't. So I'm saying to you, we cannot. So I'm saying to you, saying to you, Holmes, you cannot manipulate my cockerel. You just have to come up with an equation as to why it's not the sun, the cockerel causing the sun. So don't touch my cockerel.
Here's a really good one. Here's without manipulating that. Okay, you'll get a camera, right, or any measurement instrument, and then you.
No. I want you to do it the same way. No. Hold on. No, please do it the same way you did it without touching anything. You can't touch the Earth. You said that's ridiculous. You came up with an equation as to why it's rotating. So do the same with my cockerel.
Right. So the problem here is that I don't have the universe as my fucking lab, dude. Okay. What we have to do is, when you don't have the ability to manipulate celestial objects, what you do is you make logical, inductive arguments, and you make models. That's how you do things. There's no way. I know.
I want you to model for me the cockerel and the sun. Model it.
Model what? How would I model? What
model that when the sun rises, the cockerel crows.
You mean measure the time the light hits the sensor, and at the same time when the voice hits the microphone, and then what do you want me to do? Like,
I want an equation for the cause of sunrise being cockerels.
It's astronomy.
There is. First of all, that's a presuppose. You're assuming.
All right, let's go back quickly. Okay, let's get off that. Let's get off the cockerel. Let's go back again. Cause of gyro rotation Earth. How can we manipulate the cause to this effect?
You can rotate the object that the gyroscope is in. You can literally rotate the object. You can't, however, rotate the Earth.
The gyro is somehow moving through space, and the rigidity of the gyro, the inertia of the gyro, is making it drift. So either it's moving through space on a rotating Earth, or space itself is drifting through the gyro, causing a precession, or both.
Oh, interesting. You said it's ether interacting with it, and that's a positive claim that you made. That's a positive claim that you made. Do you have any evidence to back that up?
The Michelson-Morley experiment and other experiments worked off of that framework, and we're very satisfied with that as an intellectual framework to analyze the experiment. There are other experiments that point to space being something that can be moved, channeled, accumulated, looking at Wilhelm Reich's experiments where he was able to concentrate space in his orgon generator, something from space that was different inside of his generator than outside of his generator. The observations of Tesla and others where there would be this vacuum field going in and out of these vacuum tubes. We already have the stuff nowadays with the Casimir effect, the zero-point field, quantum fluid, quantum foam that make space look like a solid, entity with properties. It looks like we have a bunch of breadcrumbs that are leading to space having enough properties to potentially influence the gyro.
All right. Okay. So that's also another dishonest thing that's done is just a lot of information overload and just a lot of terms without introduction or any sort of diving deep into.
Well, nothing can be isolated in a one-to-one way. We have a lot of breadcrumbs and a lot of stuff to work with. We're just going to need to go with it. Right.
And so here's a problem, is that you are. First of all, use the Michelson-Morley experiment to quote unquote prove that there is an ether, even though it was actually disproving it, and the further experiments actually disprove it further with more accuracy. So I don't know.
It wasn't disproven though. They got a positive ether drift.
I know they did. I'm very aware of the very slight amount they measured, which was a few kilometers per second, whatever drift supposedly that they discovered, and with further more advanced repeats of the same experiment, there was nothing measured, if I remember correctly, or next to nothing.
Yeah, as technology
The
got
problem
better.
was they couldn't let go of the notion that the Earth was moving. And so when they got evidence to the contrary that showed maybe the Earth wasn't moving at the speeds that they, supposed, they just abolished the ether and kept their, their preferred heliocentric model.
That's not how
it was
science
a
works.
political decision.
That's not how science works, dude. There's no fucking politics in science. I'm sorry, whoever told you that.
That's how science works when science is corrupted.
There is no politics in science.
There is
none.
Is so alien to the concept. Science. I mean, I'm not a professional. I don't even have my bachelor's yet, so keep that in mind. I'm not. I have no. I don't have like the credentials to really speak with authority here in any way, shape, or form. But I do know enough about the scientific method that to say that there is literally zero fucking politics in it.
You are a person with common sense who doesn't have a career to protect or, financial backers whose ass you have to kiss and, bury the ether so that they can peddle, gasoline and other old forms of energy. You are a free thinker who can use your own mind and see the bullshit that is afoot with 100 years of bad anti-ether science.
Funny thing you say that. I have absolutely nothing to protect by telling you the Earth is round, telling you the Earth is moving through space, telling you the Earth is rotating. I have nothing to lose by saying that. I have no interest in big oil or whatever you want to throw at it. So, in fact, I can happily say the Earth is rotating and not worry about any of your flim-flam flat Earth crap. And as far as that flat Earth thing goes, I think that flurfs do this more, that none of them truly believe the Earth is flat. They just enjoy trying to argue with people. Like I do.
Delusional. You are delusional.
None of the Earth, I don't think any of the flurfs, most
People that are
truly
questioning
believe
flat
it's
Earth
flat.
aren't doing it to cause a joke.
I
It's just
think
because
99%
I believe this
of them,
radical shit. I believe
especially the bigger
it's
ones.
possible, huh?
I think especially the bigger
Does that
ones.
mean I
all
believe it
think,
is?
No, the Earth is round. Most of the bigger flurfs actually know the Earth is round, like the CCs and the Nathan Oakleys and all of them. They know it's a globe. They just play it to keep their little paycheck come, to keep people giving them their what do they call it on there when you donate money?
Wait.
Patreon.
How could they make money
Super
off
chats,
a dead?
yes, it's
How could
another
they make
one.
money
That's
off
why
of
they
a
do
dead
it.
cause? How could they make money off a dead cause?
Because
The
there's
thing
gullible
is,
people out there.
The Earth is flat and motionless, and the only Coriolis effects you're getting are from the spinning ether. That is all.
There's no such thing as the
what the
spinning ether.
Coriolis
That does
effect
not
is?
exist.